tonight and where we're going to be going. So we're going to be interesting coming out. The things I want to mention here is we have been in some stats. We've been discussing. We've been writing down some stuff. And what you might like to know is that Border and Consulate have been won 4 times each by OrgLess throughout the qualifier. They've been doing very, very well on those maps. But other than that, they haven't actually won on any other maps other than Oregon and Clubhouse only once.
Yeah, I mean, they did win on Villa on one time.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, you're right. They do have certainly a map preference, if you will, and that really comes through, like you say there, for OrgLess on Border and Consulate. You can see there, Rise Nation wasting no time and using their first ban to just take Consulate out of the picture. OrgLess responding there with a bank ban. Bit of a shame. Would have maybe liked to have seen a little bit of bank. OrgLess then going to come in with their own on Coastline. You know, not a major surprise there for Coast. It is, as we've talked about many times, it's slightly skewed in terms of favoured toward the attackers. And Rise Nation finishing things out there with a Clubhouse ban.
For those of you who might not be aware, because this is a little bit different to the way that map bans might be done in other tournaments as well, that it is ban, pick, and then we ban out the remaining maps until we get to our decider. So that has definitely affected the map ban strategy here. And, you know, OrgLess have got the choice between basically banning Bank or Villa here. They decided to ban Bank, and therefore Rise just pick up Villa before it can get banned out. And then Rise have a much harder choice though between Consulate and Border banning those out.
It's their first ban really was a big decision for them whether they really want to go down onto Border or whether they want to go down onto Consulate, because they know that one of those is going to get through. OrgLess isn't going to let one of those slide, so it does seem like we're going to be seeing a little bit of Border.
Yeah, it's interesting as well, just looking at these two teams where they're pretty closely matched in terms of pure skill. I would give the advantage to Rise purely based off of the ability to just work together cohesion-wise. And, you know, we've seen plenty of good Rise matches recently as well, but also OrgLess have been doing pretty well for themselves as well. So, you know, it's so close, and the map bans, no one really won the map bans. It's pretty even across the board.
Yeah, it is really close. I think Border's going to be a really important one because OrgLess have obviously got a little bit of a stamp on Border at this stage with just how well they've done on it. They've picked up 4 wins.
Yeah.
You know, Rise Nation haven't slept on it. They've played it once and won it once. So, you know, they're both 100%, but I guess that OrgLess's sample is taken over a slightly larger amount of games. So, you know, a little bit more difficult to maybe maintain that percentage. But it's, I don't know, Rise Nation have got to feel comfortable to a point where they know that they've been prepping for this game. They've had to prep for one of these key maps. They've chosen to prep for Border. It's interesting that Rise Nation haven't yet played Consulate. That was a map that they could have easily got through the map bans had they banned Border in the first place. That maybe would have shifted things up a little bit because there's very little material out there on Rise Nation for Consulate.
That is true. However, is very true.
There's a lot of material out there for OrgLess because they've won there 4 times. So I think that Rise Nation obviously must have felt more comfortable playing Border and maybe just not so confident on Consulate, which can be, it can, you know, swing a little bit in Consulate. It can be quite a heavy one-sided map because it can be quite complicated to play. There's obviously the top floor that you've got to clear out, you know, quite comprehensively because you don't really want to get that late flank and stuff like that. It plays a little bit similar to Bank in that respect, where there's multiple, you know,
late
rotations and late flank options.
That's definitely what you have to look out for. It can be a bit of a complicated map. I think that Border is definitely one of those maps, as you mentioned, that is a little bit, it's not simple. It's a very well-designed map, and therefore it is a map that a lot of the comp teams are very, very comfortable with, and they just know what they're doing on it. That may be why OrgLess has been doing so well on it, which, you know, they know, having maybe a bit of a new roster coming through, maybe not having quite the cohesion that they might need, that they would have had otherwise having maybe a few months more of practice. They can go to Border, everyone knows Border, and they can just run strats for that. And, you know, they have great gun skill, especially coming out from people like Acid in particular, who we've seen some crazy good shots coming out from throughout the qualifiers.
Yeah, I mean, Acid's certainly been doing his fair share of gun skill. And like you say, playing Border does allow you to play maybe a little bit more off, you know, good established strategies that can be executed in quite a nice way. Because, you know, think about the way that you take Border. No matter the bomb site, you kind of take it a very similar way for most of the bomb sites. In that you're going to want to put some good pressure on CCTV. That can be a real pivotal point on the map, which you're going to want to take on either, you know, on either bomb site. And that just brings that sort of level of familiarity with it, whereas for Consulate it's maybe a little bit more different in the way that you would look to take it, because
Yeah,
you potentially
I would
waste a
definitely
lot of
agree with
time
that.
droning out the top floor. So I think it's possibly, I don't want to say an easier map, but it's maybe less technical because you kind of do some of the similar things, you know, for multiple different bomb sites.
Consulate definitely on the attack is an absolute mess sometimes because you are having to be very, very coordinated. You have to go for some very defined pushes depending on what you want to do there. And you can really be all over the place, and if you're not coordinating on that attack, you're going to get very heavily punished for it by, as you said, late roamers coming out. So let's talk a little bit about Rise, though. And, you know, we talk about how Acid has been showing up for his team. There was a bit of doubt, I think, when Vertical moved off this team and he went over to Rogue. Obviously, one of the best fraggers in NA, if not the best fragger in NA. And he's definitely done his job on Rogue so far. He's been doing very, very well. Ghost comes into the scene. Then you think, is this the replacement here that Rise need? Is it going to be that Hyper moves on to a more aggressive fragging role coming out?
I think that's certainly something that we can see. He's certainly been picking up his fair share of kills in the matches that have led up to this.
Definitely.
You know, picking the operators that enable him to be able to get those kills. So yeah, like you say, maybe a little bit of a role flex there, and just figuring out where everybody lies. But we are now going to be moving into the game and checking out some operator bans.
Yeah, pretty standard bans coming out already. The Glass ban coming out from OrgLess here on Border. Very, very typical. I don't think we're going to see too many surprises. I would like for Rise Nation to potentially ban out a Heart Breacher here, just because that would shake up things. And as I said before, there's no reason for you to hide anything here. This is all or nothing. If you lose here, that's it. You go home, nothing. And this Blackbeard ban, that's pretty typical coming out from Rise Nation, so no surprises there. Blackbeard's very, very powerful on Border. There's a lot of long angles you can hold, and it's just really impossible to contest them.
Yeah, like I say, I think a hard breach ban there would have really thrown a cat among the pigeons. But we're going to see the Jaeger ban come out, which certainly opens up a lot of opportunity on the attacking side. I'm expecting
it's an acid counter ban.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see a hell of a lot of throwables now.
Yeah.
And maybe even some Ying into the mix because she's made her way through as well.
Maestro.
I'm going to close things out with a Maestro ban. So Echo on the table and available.
Yeah, definitely interesting coming out there. We'll see how it does go down as we are going to move into the action phase here. Well, round number 1 first as we get underway, and we'll see how it goes down. Rise Nation take on OrgLess on our first map here on Border in the North American qualifiers lower bracket final. Let's get right into it, and we're going to see an Armory Lockers defense of Archives first as well. What do you think of the defense? What do you think of the lineups?
I'm maybe a little bit surprised not to see a Mirror being played here. Mirror making her way through the ban phase. Maybe there we're going to see it. Acid's going to do me a solid there. He's going to 6-pick off the Echo onto the Mirror. But I'd quite like to see both, I guess. I'd quite like to see both the Echo and the Mirror on that lineup. And Vandal there going to waste absolutely no time taking advantage of the Jaeger ban, and he's going to be bringing some Candelas on Ying.
Yeah, this is a very interesting strategy coming up for Rise. So they banned the Jaeger, and they just decided, well, we're just going to take all nades and Candelas and just Zophia's. Just absolutely anything you can throw into their site and use to just completely disorient people or just kill them outright, because there's a lot of good nade spots here on Armory. Something that a lot of Latin American teams are doing. Doesn't tend to happen that much in other regions, but you know, in like other games you have like pre-placed nade spots where you're like lining it up with parts of the map. There's a lot of those good nade spots you can do here. I'm talking about at the top of the skylight just outside of office, and also just on the doorway going into Archives, there's good nade spots there, and on the locker sandwich window if you go below you can get some good nade spots, even getting all the way into small office from below. So I really love this from Rise Nation. My only issue is that maybe a little bit over investment, because it's going to concentrate a lot more on their info gathering than anything.
Yeah, and I think that OrgLess have prepared for this in a way, having brought the Dock and the Rook, obviously anticipating some sort of you know, nade assault, if you will, and a lot of throwables there. The Rook armor is obviously going to give you a little bit more protection. The stim pistols from Dock, very handy for reviving enemies at a distance. So they're obviously playing into this a little bit. They've accepted it, and I think that's probably a good reason as to why they've brought both those operators. It isn't all too common that you do see both of them on the board at the same time. We're got Yeti currently just playing inside security room. He's got a couple of holes open to his back, which is going to allow him to peek down these stairs. He's just going to narrowly miss out on that kill onto Ghost at the top of these stairs there. Almost the kill that was, but not quite. Ghost there, just getting a bit aggressive, peeking the angle, and the Candelas are going to come in already. Vandal's going to pick up his first kill onto Maman, and that's going to be Rook out of the picture. Yeti though, going to refrag that. Obviously, drone work there was not sufficiently done, or maybe the call out, because it should have been known that Yeti was there. In that point, he's going to be able to stim himself up after challenging onto Break Room. Meanwhile, Crazy is going to pick up a kill of his own onto Hyper, taking out the book. So in the opening half of the round, things are looking pretty good for OrgLess at this stage.
Oh, come on. Beastly just going to fumble, and he's going to drop the nade all the way below him. That's a massive waste of utility coming out. When Crazy's running all the way out, living up to his namesake, will take England off the board. And you've already lost your hard breach as well. This is looking terrible for Rise because no one's got control here. And they've lost Diffuser as well on top of that. Yeti's still holding down, and I'm assuming he's got a bulletproof camera onto 90 to peek out that angle. That's where you would normally play the mirror. So Yeti going to be still playing around onto CC where he can and try and get as many kills as he can. Just waste time because he has control of the Diffuser. He has no reason to play as aggressive. He's got Crazy holding his cross as well, and Rise are running out of time.
Yeah, it all seemed to go very wrong very quickly for Rise there. I think they tried to take hold of CCTV, but just didn't quite manage to root Yeti out of his position. And he's just proving how valuable Doc with a couple of stim pistols can be in sort of commanding an area. Beastly there is going to jump in, but Yeti is going to pick up yet another kill. Ghost this time going to be there to get the trade, but Acid trading it straight back, taking Ghost, and that's OrgLess with round number 1.
Great round coming out from OrgLess. Really well played from Yeti in particular. Just completely holding down CC. And I think just poor info coming out from Rise Nation there. I mean, they wasted a lot of utility to try and get control of CC. He threw all 3 Candelas in there, and then he gets traded, and no one's there to trade him instantly. I feel like Rise were all over the place in that. They should be trading a lot more. They should have that control a lot earlier coming through. That just didn't happen for them, and they fell apart. And of course, Yeti on the dock, that's not an engagement you really want to take.
No, I mean, I just can't believe that the call-out didn't come from Ghost, that's where Yeti was playing, because I don't know if there was maybe some confusion because there was a three armor that got taken out at that point, and there could have been a bit of crossover if they didn't know that there was 2 playing in that room in CCTV. So maybe just a little bit of confusion there, like you say, but certainly something that attributed to costing them that round quite heavily. So going to see OrgLess now go back down, or not back down, but down for the first time, should I say, onto Ventilation. Very similar lineup again, but this time choosing to bring the Valkyrie and the Legion, and not 2 ACOGs this time. So yes, he's going to keep holding the dock, but my man's going to pick up the Bandit.
My big thing here is that traditionally Border, a little bit defender-sided, I say it's like 51-40 now, depending on the bans. But it's funny I say that because the Jaeger's banned, this should be very attacker-sided right now, especially with the lineup that Rise is taking here. And the fact that they've not found their first round yet is going to punish them. If OrgLess continue to take rounds on this defense, they're going to completely swipe out Rise when they move on to the attack.
It's definitely a little bit strange as well that they've not actually playing the operators that are available to them in Echo and Mirror. Mirror, I guess, maybe not so popular downstairs for Ventilation, but certainly an Echo. I mean, you can use an Echo absolutely anywhere. It's 2 more cameras, it's a little bit of info. You've got to be asking yourself, would it maybe have been worth to bring the Echo as opposed to bringing the Valkyrie, perhaps?
I think that the Echo, and some people may call me crazy, but Twitch chat, stay with me here. I think the Echo is a good counter to the Ying.
Yeah, definitely. You got the Yokai drone, so you were able to get a bit of information pre the push. Well,
the Yokai drone
where you're
can
gonna place
see where the push is coming down, because obviously it doesn't get flashed because it's a drone. So it can see where the push is going down. It can hit the Ying with the Echo dispersion, and yeah, like the Ying's not going to be able to push off that, because if you sprint, you're just going to make it worse for yourself. There we go, already opening up triple wall and getting his way in. It's going to be Hyper. It's getting all the way in through onto offices, and it's going to be Ghost who's hold down the east stairs. This is good progress. This is much tighter coming out from Rise, because before what they were trying to do, they were trying to go for a traditional box take. I think if you're taking the Havana here, and you're taking a Ying, an office take is much, much better for you, considering that triple wall also wasn't reinforced.
Yeah, you've really got to establish a foothold in the map at this point, and I think they've chosen to make that offices, which is a great place to start from, but they are going to have to go on to deal with CCTV, and they're going to have to come up with something to root Yeti out of his corner, playing just behind 90 there in CCTV, but it seems like maybe a little bit of a rotate coming out. England there, just getting ready to make his way into tellers, a little bit of drone work coming out as well, just to check that the coast is clear. You can see there Hyper just making his way in. But, you know, office control there has largely been established. That's going to allow the Buck to be able to drop down, just start making some holes into bathroom, trying to get the way into the site. A little bit of a slow around this time, but I think it's looking much better from Rise Nation. They seem to be a lot more tight, like you say, in what they're doing. And with this bathroom now being open, it's only going to get easier for them to root their players out of the site. Beastly there, going to pick up a kill, but Yeti is still proving a nuisance inside CCTV, while Vandal has made his way onto the site. And this is pretty dangerous now because Rise have actually got good site control and they should be able to get a plant down at some point. Hyper there is going to pick up a kill onto my man. Acid going to trade it straight back out. Yeti now on the rotate, coming back down. And you can see Acid there is just going to get peeked by England. Yeti making his way into the bomb site. Shots are going to come down. The plant is going down at this stage. Vandal there desperately trying to find something. Vandal there does desperately find something. Manages to find the head of Yeti. And that was a much better round from Rise Nation.
Yeah, great round coming out from Rise instead. They're much tighter played, just all the way pushing into offices. They got roam control pretty much immediately, and now they're just flank watching. You had Beastly picking up kills on the flank watch, while you had just the Ying pushing all the way deep into the site. And I gotta say as well, it's kind of surprising that England isn't playing the Ying here. I know that on this team, he does play a more heavier support role, but he's known as Yingland for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably one of the most effective uses of Ying that you can make, you know, being able to brute force your way through the side like that. And like you say, with the control that he was able to take and how deep he was actually able to go, it did make it really difficult for OrgLess when they were then trying to rotate back down.
Yeah.
Yeti was dropping CC Hatch, he was already setting up crossfires as they were going. So OrgLess are going to choose to go back down to the same site. No reason why not at this stage. They certainly weren't a million miles away from that one, but I think with the control that they gave up so early on in offices, I'd like to see if they're able to do anything maybe a little bit differently to hold on to that a little bit longer, or if that perhaps just forces Rise Nation to then take CC a little bit better, because it seems like OrgLess have got a pretty good plan of keeping hold of CCTV control, which, as we said, is very important and has produced good kills so far.
10 seconds left before insertion.
Yeah, no, it definitely has. And that whole like flank watch control, the thing that I liked about OrgLess' take here, sorry, Rise Nation's take on OrgLess' setup, is that they've used the fact that OrgLess had so much setup for events take, and it just didn't come. All they had to do is just open a bathroom, push through that way, ying their way into the site, and they had control. They didn't even need to take control of Armory upstairs. All they have to do is take control of Archive and just hold the flanks. That's exactly what Rise did, and they did it perfect.
Yeah, and that's when you see an experienced team that's able to play off the way that the site has been set up and make decisions on the fly based on that, of how they're actually going to attack it. Hyper now, you can see, just getting ready to make his way over into offices, just desperately trying to find any sort of Valkyrie camera that may be lurking, but he's going to struggle to get that one up in the dome on the ceiling. As Crazy is keeping a pretty good eye on that, just to make sure that no one is sneaking in without him knowing. Although Hyper now just sort of trying to get a little bit of a one-tap, I guess. Some shots do come pretty close there, it did look like, but my man's only going to suffer a small amount of damage there as he gets himself prepared for this assault. But he's probably going to try and rotate off that, because there's no real point in him playing too aggressively there. He's wasted a little bit of time so far, and that's always a good thing. Smoke there just peeking up, trying to find something from beneath. Perhaps maybe catch a drone, or maybe just get a couple of shots lined in. I really do like these small murder holes that they're making in the roof there. It just does allow a good idea of what's going on up above, as well as transferring a little bit of sound as well.
And you can see again that Rise don't even need to bother with this CC control. There's something that went terribly for them in the first round, where they yinged into CC and they just lost their ying immediately. And they can just get all the way in here. They don't even need to take armory control. They have officers control. They can drop down into tellers. Now they have waiting room control, and they can just slowly start to push in the backside of the site. Rise at this point, though, should start to realize where the take is coming from. I'm not sure if I agree with this wall not being reinforced from OrgLess, the passable wall.
It certainly allows a very easy line of sight you know, especially with an operator like a Book or a Sledge, which Rise Nation have got both of, just to bust open and put a little bit of pressure onto anyone playing down in customs. Nade there going to come through. I'm surprised we've not seen more nades, you know. Maybe we've just not caught it, but it doesn't seem like we've had as many as we perhaps should. Hyper there, maybe getting ready to throw a second one. But it seems like Rise Nation are setting themselves up now for a nice execute. We're coming into the final 30 seconds of the round, so we're definitely going to have to do something at this point as Brian there, just maybe retreating back a little bit, getting himself ready to start throwing some smoke canisters. But my man has gone down in and amongst the chaos as the shots do rain in now from England. Ghost there, going to pick up the kill onto Yeti, so it has begun. Acid going to get pretty aggressive onto the Zephyr as she's pulling out a goo mine, so that's going to be another kill there for Crazy on the C4, and Acid's going to make that a double with a kill onto England. Hyper now going to try and do something, but gets cut down by Beastly, and it's all going to be left down to Crazy. He does manage to pick up one kill, and another one there for Brian from OrgLess. So that's going to be a good round there for the defenders. I think that Rise maybe just left it a little bit too late in what they were trying to do in terms of execution there.
Yeah, it was definitely really weird because Rise Nation had all the control that they needed. I mean, there was still good plant denial coming out from OrgLess, but you can't doubt that the fact that Rise had so much control there, and it all just fell apart so quickly for them. And the fact that OrgLess, they still had control of CC, they still had someone playing in there, where, you know, they're just taking advantage of that situation. And I mentioned the fact that that passport wall isn't reinforced, so it should allow Rise to take control of that area very, very quickly. But again, from Rise, it just kind of feels like a lack of info on their side.
I mean, Acid was allowed to play in customs pretty much for free, despite the wall being open. So it really didn't come to much of any. It really didn't come to any meaning in the end of it all, because he was allowed to play there and he managed to pick up 2 kills from it. So it was a little bit strange. I think that maybe Rise could have perhaps maybe got a plant down at that point, and that would have been enough then for them to pick up the round. They could have maybe fallen back just a little bit because they were well established within vents. But I don't think that it was something that they really maybe had the time to do, or maybe it was just a little bit too chaotic in those final stages.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to see how he does go down as we move into round number 4. Let's keep moving. Armory and Archives defense again coming out here from OrgLess. It was pretty good from them last time. Let's see how he does go down. I think that, though, that this last defense, when they came down, it was Rise more defeating themselves than it was about OrgLess having a good set. This is pretty standard coming out from them, although I do like the Frost coming out from my man.
Yeah, we've not seen much Frost. It's not an operator that you always see, but I always say Frost mats win rounds, and just, you know, in strange positions or strange locations, it's always one. I mean, I really like that one there, just inside of Break Room, just the other side of the little half wall there. That's a popular spot for people to kind of jump in, jump straight over, and get caught out there. But Yeti is going to be playing this spot again over in CCTV, and he's been pretty well established here throughout the entire of this game. It's been his hotspot. It's been where he enjoys playing, and I think that there's got to be a point where Rise are going to have to learn how to deal with that. Maybe it's a nade spot, maybe it's going underneath and applying some pressure. But you can see there my man is just trying to maybe bait out some more grenades and a couple of drones there. I think one of his frost mats perhaps there got destroyed, but looks like he might be tempted to go for a bit of a run out there onto Beastly. I'm not sure if Beastly is aware of his presence there in CCTV. The run out does come. My man picks up a kill onto Vandal. Hyper there trading it straight back out though. So the run out did come, but just onto somebody else. Yeti there is going to make a small rotation and perhaps maybe look to get his way all the way up East Stairs and just assist from that angle, having maybe lost a little bit too much of CC control now with all the pressure that's coming onto the west balcony. Crazy playing his spot over in offices, and Acid just waiting things out on the mirror as the nades do come flying. There is a down, so I think that Frostmat has actually caught somebody over in CCTV. Ghost there, going to pick up a kill onto Crazy from East Stairs, but I don't think there's anyone to convert that kill over in CC, which is a massive shame because the Frostmat there has really done its job. But Yeti has since rotated out, but he's back on main stairs now, just holding an angle onto Break Room as he's just trying to make something happen here. But looking pretty good for Rise Nation. They've got a good amount of control there. We're going to see Beastly coming up the main stairs. That's going to force Yeti yet again to rotate back. He's probably wishing at that point it was a 3-speed to make a bit of a stairs rotation down the hatch as he just holds onto Break. Doesn't quite manage to connect.
Yeah, not just quite yet, but we're going to get into the last 30 seconds of the round. Now, without the Yin coming out from Rise, it's going to be very difficult. Hyper's going to go below. He's going to make sure he can get all this open up. As Acid picks off Hyper, though, before he can really do much with that. Great pick coming out from Acid there through the vertical play from the half wall. And now it's a 3v4. But OrgLess, sorry, a 3v3, because now OrgLess are in still a pretty good situation, though. I'm pretty sure Acid does still have a Nitro on the board, and I'm pretty sure all 3 smokes are on the board here as well. So there should be good peaks coming out. They have all the plant denial they need in the world, and OrgLess just need to hold on. There we go, smokes are going to come out. The push does come through. Acid takes one down, but instantly gets traded out. There we go, Beastly just get the trade, but the shotgun comes out to deny the plant going down. OrgLess take round number 4 by default. Really good coming out from them. And a great setup indeed. And, you know, you mentioned about Frost getting a little bit aggressive there. My man gets traded out by Hyper, but he took down the Ying.
Oh, big, no matter what. It was definitely a worthwhile sacrifice because the frost mats were already in play, and the frost mats then went on to do the job. It was just unfortunate that there was no one there to convert the kill, but it obviously took half health off somebody because they had to get reset, and it plays into further than just him running out and getting the kill. So he did a fantastic job getting rid of the Ying, because in those final stages, if that had been a Ying push at that point, it possibly could have been a little bit different.
Yeah, definitely. It's also been interesting that they're still hiding the IQ Ying coming out here. OrgLess should be picking up on this by now, and honestly, I'm really surprised they're not bringing Echo almost every single round, because there's been no IQ coming out from Rise. They've constantly been relying on this Ying to go for their pushes, and it's getting shut down completely. And as we mentioned earlier, Echo's a great counter to Ying.
Yeah, I think it is strange when it's available but not being played, and yet they are choosing to play 2 other ACOGs. And I know the ACOGs that they're playing are going to be looking to get other benefits of them in terms of the play armor and the stim pistols from docks, and maybe kind of counter some of the grenade play that's coming out. But I don't know if we've seen all too much effective grenade play thus far. So it'd certainly be worth bringing the Echo for a round and just seeing how it was able to work, because the way that Rise Nation are pushing this at the minute is they're setting themselves up for late executes. They're not leaving themselves a lot of time in those final dying seconds, and it's costing them at this point. So if OrgLess read into that, and I know they've done a great job so far, but if they just read into that a little bit and they go, if we can have 2 yokai drones or even 1 yokai drone in those dying seconds, that's just going to aid our sort of late game so much, because Rise are really not giving themselves enough time.
Yeah, no, they haven't been giving themselves enough time indeed. But again, the same setup coming out from OrgLess. They're holding on to CC every single time. And as you said, we haven't really seen Rise respond to this very well. They've not been able to take control of CCTV, not once. But Ghost immediately picks up Crazy. That's the pulse off the board immediately. Great job coming out there from Rise Nation to quickly pick off the pulse and deny quite a heavy bit of intel coming out from OrgLess.
Yeah, a lot of intel and a lot of utility there. Obviously the C4, they'd be looking to make good use of that late on into the round, and like I say, the cardiac scanner, very good way of telling where the push is actually going to be coming from. So to lose that within the first sort of 50 seconds, a little bit of a shame there. But Ghost seeing an opportunity, taking it with both hands, and able to pick up that kill, and just turn the tide a little bit more. So Yeti still going to be playing his cubby in CC. We might even need to start calling that Yeti corner. I'm not sure just yet, but he's still doing a good job, and the drones are coming in. Everybody knows that that's where he's playing, but the push just doesn't seem to be coming in. Acid there, managing to avoid the Candelas as Vandal does follow them up, and ooh, I thought that Acid was going to get that kill, so Brian's going to get one onto Ghost, but Vandal is going to get that kill onto Acid. So Candelas or not, he does still manage to get the job done. Beastly there, going to pick up that kill onto Yeti, so he's found the angle. They've managed to bait him out with a drone and force him to move out of his corner, but I do think that that's going to leave Rise Nation still in a pretty good situation. They've got plenty of time left on the clock now to make this final execute in the last minute, and there's going to be only 2 members of OrgLess remaining in my man and Brian, but still a little bit of deniability there. We're going to have some smokes, but my man is going to get punished there by Hyper as Brian now tries to make something happen in this 1 versus 4 situation. Toxic Bays are going to come out, Candelas are coming out as well, and he's just been getting pushed from every single angle. Vandal's going to pick up that final kill, and that's going to be an attacking round for Rise.
Great job coming out from Rise there to just capitalize on the fact that OrgLess were playing so far apart from each other, and even though they're avoiding the Candelas, really, Ying is still pushing. She's still coming right up to you, and I think that, I mean, we didn't get to see his perspective, But I think that when Acid is getting pushed there, he's ADSing with the ACOG, and I think that the ACOG blocked as Vandal crouched into there. So maybe we can only really speculate on what happened there, but I really thought that Acid would have won that fight for sure. But it's not going to go through just yet for them. Ventilation Room Workshop is going to be the next defense coming out from OrgLess, and again, we're going to see the exact same 6-bit coming out from Rise. But yeah, I like this from OrgLess, that they're now picking off the dock and they're bringing a Val because they're recognizing
to locate and defuse
Rise
bombs.
Nation are not taking an IQ at all.
Not only are they going to take the Valve, but they're going to take the Echo as well. So it's
Yeah.
like we're getting all our wishes. Acid there is going to switch on to the Echo, and that's really going to help them. And I think that if they'd have had an Echo last round, perhaps, it would have been a little bit easier for them to maybe assist the roamers with the cameras and the disorientating effect of the yokai. And also it's going to change things up a little bit because Yeti is no longer going to be in Yeti's corner in CCTV. He's going to be a little bit of an unknown entity this time, but they're still going to reinforce it as if he's there. So there could be a little bit of a bait and switch going on here, and maybe it's going to cause Rise Nation to avoid that area a little bit perhaps, as they anticipate the ACOG that's going to be playing in there, but it's going to be Valkyrie and some Valkyrie cams for some intel anyway, so we're going to get a nice one outside there on the lamppost. That's going to provide him a good view of anybody that's rappelling up onto that west side. He's just calling out there for a bit of a rotate to be made, so he's still going to play his corner, but he's probably going to play it a little bit differently this time as he's not got the ACOG in hand.
Well, not just that, he can't play too aggressively off of it, but now he has the extra intel coming out in forms of, I'm hoping, Legion mines are somewhere upstairs, at least one of them. And, you know, he's also going to have Echo drones on the board at some point as well, so he knows where the push is going to be coming from. And, of course, he has his Valkyrie hammers as well. And it's pretty hard for Rise Nation to really pick off a decent amount of that intel because they're not bringing IQ.
Which is something weird because the canistics picking off it every time, and I think there becomes a point where you've got to ask yourself, are you getting the most out of all the operators that you bring in, or can you sacrifice one of them to bring the IQ? And I think perhaps at this point it could be the Book. I know that he's been making some really good holes and stuff like that, but ultimately Sledge can do most of that. Or maybe it's the Sledge, I don't know. Maybe one of the two could just be switched out for an IQ for a round and just see how they do get on with it, because Acid is able to operate currently in CCTV in customs downstairs for free as he makes his way upstairs just to assist his roamers on gathering any information as to where the push is going to be coming from. And you can see there they're just setting up for this Ying push again, because this is something that they did suffer from last time. And if that just allows anyone that's playing over in Armory to play there for a little bit longer, it's definitely a worthwhile use of the utility.
Yeah, and again, you know, great counters to Ying coming out across the board. We've got Smokes coming out, we've got Legion coming out, we've got Echo coming out. These are all great counters to stop this push going down. And the fact that they're constantly avoiding these Candelas, I mean, the Candelas are really being used by Vandal here mostly just to push out defenders rather than actually kill them. But that might be a big misstep coming out, because these could be very easy kills coming out from Rise right now, and they're not really capitalizing on that much. They're letting the roamers escape, and they're letting them push back, and that is just leaving more utility on site.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with how OrgLess are setting themselves up. They're really setting themselves up for these rotations. And it does just go to show why they've been so successful on border to date, because they've just got such a good handle on how they're going to play the map and how long they're going to hold something before they're going to rotate off it. Like you say, the Candelas are almost becoming crowd control, just trying to push people from one room to the next. But ultimately, that's just allowing the members of OrgLess to just get back down onto site. We're in the final 30 seconds now, and the push is going to have to start coming from somewhere. But it seems as though Rise aren't happy with the upstairs control that they've taken, or maybe Beastly's just there waiting for someone that he believes is still playing upstairs, whereas everyone's now down on the site. And this is where the yokai drones and the smoke canisters are going to become really, really valuable.
Yeah, they are. We're going to see this backside push coming down. Just the last 10 seconds remaining, and everyone is still on the board. Rise Nation is going to try and move in. Candelas are going to go out there trying to make their way into the site. Yes, he pushes round as a customs. He's going to lose the fight, but OrgLess will take round number 6. This Crazy will deny the plant from Vandal. Great round coming out there from OrgLess, and just, again, wasting their time, keeping sure that they have all their utility available to them so they can push up and they can take those fights. But now OrgLess going to move through onto the attack. Looking really good for them because they're 4-2 up. And without the Jaeger, this ought to be very attacker-sided right now.
It's all about how they're going to play into that Jaeger ban and if they're going to make and take good advantage of it. You can see there that OrgLess are going to waste no time. They're going to bring both the IQ and the Thatcher. So the Thatcher is going to be able to disable any yokai drones that may get 6 picked onto. We've not seen one picked yet, although we're going to see a switch, a Rue there from Bandit onto the dock for Hyper. But yeah, bringing out the Thatcher and the IQ, that really says, right, whatever electronics and utility you've got, we're going to disable them, we're going to find them, we're going to destroy them. So a real search and destroy mission there on the electronics for OrgLess, and like you say, it should be a little bit attacker favoured, but we're only bringing 1 set of nades, but I kind of like that because I'm not sure that the 2 sets were really doing all too much.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about sort of grenade efficiency coming through. We didn't see really where these nades were going through, and I really just don't think they were adding in that much, as you said. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen as we move further into these rounds and how OrgLess are going to change it up. And, you know, we're already seeing changes, as you said, the IQ coming out. That is so good coming out from OrgLess because it's going to deny everything that Rise has to actually bring in plant denial here. And OrgLess aren't relying around the Ying. Maybe the Ying would be a good play. It definitely gave Rise a couple of wins, but I feel like it's just too easy to counter.
I think it was down to the way they were using it. There's multiple ways to use Ying as an operator. You can either be going for the shock and awe effect of trying to flash people and get them out, or you can use it the way that Rise were using it, and they were doing it as more of like we're going to take this room and we're going to push you out by using a Candela. You're going to rotate because you don't want to lose your life in that spot. You're going to rotate back to site. And it worked to a point, but ultimately you've still got to deal with that defender once you get down to site. And I think that was just something that they weren't leaving themselves enough time later on for, and then that's maybe caused a little bit of the struggle maybe that Rise felt on their attacking rounds. Nice to see a mirror out on the table.
Yeah, I do love the mirror, and you know, I mean, from Rise here as well, we got to think them playing the mirror where they are is just such a strong position to have. But the counteract to that is that OrgLess have a buff on the board. And, you know, they have nades on the board, they have Ash on the board here. There's so much for OrgLess to do to deal with mirrors on this. And, you know, they don't even have the Twitch. Yet he almost died. Wow.
That would have been unfortunate. The old exothermic charge would have definitely made short work of him. But he managed to get out of the way. Luckily, he's 10-speed Ash, so it's no mean feat to dive across the map in a matter of seconds there.
I really don't like that mirror window they have a passport. I like that they're holding down passport like that and they have the reinforcements down, but that mirror can instantly get popped from above very, very easily. And Yeti made it all the way in. He's got control of the mirror. He's going to peek him out. Beautiful from Yeti. And he's already got the first kill on the board. This is just so much utility wasted coming out from Rise Nation. They've lost so much control already.
I'm not sure how that happens, because if you're going to be playing the mirror and you're going to rotate off it, surely you should be thinking about destroying the canister in it and dropping the glass before that point. But to rotate off it and leave it there and then stand the other side of it as Beastly, that's a little bit of an oversight there. Mirror's going to try and challenge back onto her own, does manage to get it down onto Yeti, but can't quite convert the kill as Yeti's just able to crawl out of the way. Vandal not going to push that. He's not really got much need to at this stage. It's a case of if he pushes it, he's very likely to lose his life in that scenario, but the cast barricade there is going to force Crazy and Brian to push on through Tellers. Goomine there going to make sure that everybody knows exactly where he is. Crazy maybe going to look to try and pick up his fallen teammate in Yeti, but ultimately the time is running very short. There's not a lot of hit points left on the team of OrgLess, and as I say that, England is going to pick up the kill onto my man, so Buck no longer going to be a factor. Crazy's going to lose a heck of a lot of hit points as well. Yeti has been revived, does take out Ghost. Vandal is going to trade that straight out. Acid there going to come up with a kill of his own as he's peeking on into the site. Makes that a double, picking up one onto Hyper. England just getting caught in the reload, but does manage to get the kill onto Acid. Brian going to finish things off with a kill onto England, and that's going to be a round on the board for the attackers.
Yeah, really well done from OrgLess there, just to capitalize on what was a very weird setup coming out from Rise Nation, especially the mirrors wise. I said that it was a good mirror initially coming out on supply because it can completely cut off the attacker's ability to take over that hallway. But if you have the classic Yeti crouch walking Ash who moves through detention, which there was a thermite charge on, it's very loud. So you gotta know that someone's gonna be pushing through that. And as you said, pointed out very rightly, if you're gonna give up that position for a mirror, don't give it to the attackers. Just destroy the canister and rotate out.
Yeah, surely pop the mirror, rotate out. I guess in the heat of the moment, you're going to maybe want to try and run out, but it's, I don't know. It's one of those things where you think to
Attackers
yourself,
need to locate
am I going to
and
die if I
defuse
waste a
bombs
second
they
trying to
can.
pop this? Is he going to be able to shoot me in the back as I rotate through the door? Because it wasn't a rotatable hole to the left of the mirror, it was just a single shot. Multiple things come into play there, but ultimately I think Rise just didn't quite hold what they'd set up well enough, and it was set up in quite a specific way as to if they lost that control, it was always going to sort of play very heavily against them.
They were definitely expecting a very different push coming out from OrgLess, and honestly, I get the impression from Rise they're kind of fighting against themselves, that they're setting it up, expecting a Ying push, or alternatively, specifically there, they were expecting a backside take. They were expecting the same take that they did. They were coming through archives, they took control of there, they were just holding down flanks, and then they pushed down and they came through the back room. For that, those mirrors are great. But OrgLess see those mirrors and will say, we're not going to push backside. We're not even going to take control. We're going to use the thermite detention instead and just tear this entire defense apart. And at that point, Rise Nation have no choice. They have to give up pretty much all of their utility in customs.
Yeah, it is one of the, it's sort of the balancing factor, I guess, of mirrors, that you really invest it heavily into one single location, and as soon as you give up that location or lose it, it's something that doesn't really play heavily into your favor at all. We're seeing much more of a typical setup this time, I'd guess, with the mirror on the fountain wall. That's going to be an area that it's no advantage. Once the attackers have taken over that area, the mirror really doesn't come into too much play at all, but it's a very powerful position to play off, as you do tend to be able to hold quite a lot of office control from there. And Rise Nation there just sort of anticipating that backside push again, as but Brian's there going to make his way up into CCTV and maybe look to open the main wall, as oh, the main wall is already open, sorry, so the main wall is open, and it's all going to be about where the push does decide to come from now.
What's interesting about this as well is they've been allowed to do a box take control of CCTV, and we're not even halfway into the round yet. There was no hold coming out from Rise, despite the fact that they have a mirror here, and playing that mirror in the hallway is such a powerful position, and you know it is because OrgLess played it as if they had a mirror there. They put a bulletproof candle to 90, where the mirror would normally be, facing east stairs, and Rise were never able to successfully take over CC without losing quite a lot of bodies.
No, and I think that comes to show the difference in the playstyles here, is that Rise, like you say, weren't able to take anything off CCTV, whereas on their defensive rounds, they're just kind of giving it up free, and they're just saying, look, you know, you can just go and play in there. And it looks as though we may even be seeing a plan coming down pretty soon, as Thatcher's come in to destroy any remaining utility, as my man there is going to pick up a grenade kill there, so he's going to prove us all wrong for saying that there's been a lack of good grenade play, and Beastly they're going to pick up a C4 kill of his own onto Yeti. Acid going to be picking up a kill onto Vandal, and there's some good information being fed back from the pulse downstairs on Ghost as to where the push is coming from, where the plant's coming from, and just on the members of Rise now, just holding back a little bit. I feel like it maybe should have pushed up a little bit there, but Ghost is going to get a kill onto Brian, but it is going to be too late. The diffuser is already down, and now Rise are faced with a bit of a tricky retake in this scenario, as they did have two players playing downstairs off-site. Acid just going to be holding an angle there onto Box, and just waiting for anyone that decides to peek through. There he is. He's going to pick up his kill onto Hyper, just pick up another one onto Ghost, and final kill there going to come out onto Beastly. Much better round there from OrgLess, I think.
Yeah, really good round coming out from OrgLess there. They used their utility correctly. But again, I just feel like Rise Nation are defending the wrong side here. They're not setting up in CC. They're dedicating all of their utility to pretty much just one side. And then, so you notice there that they had 3 nitros below to completely deny the box take. And 2 of them actually got kills. So it was actually very, very good coming out from them. But at that point, it was very stagnated because they're all throwing them out pretty much at the same time. And meanwhile, you have 3 people downstairs. No one's playing like shotgun or anything like that. So it's not like they can actively open up kill holes and deny the plant again that way. And meanwhile, you've got 3 people downstairs. OrgLess taking control of the site, and they're planting. You have no control. And I think Rise Nation just let their emotions go.
Yeah, like you say, there's a point where you've got to rotate back up to site and actually be active and be able to do something about any sort of push that's coming through or the plant that's going down. And I think you can't really take anything away from OrgLess because they saw an opportunity and they took it. And they didn't really go chasing the roamers too hard downstairs. They just took good control of CCTV, opened the wall, and they were able to play mostly just off those two things. And it goes to what we were saying earlier on about how important CCTV control is, and that it's something that you pretty much got to take every single time you're going to be attacking this site. And with the way that Rise Nation just totally gave it up, it allowed them almost a free in to be able to operate in that outside area, outside main armory wall, and ultimately get the plants off and pick up the kills as the retake started to come through.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
I would really like to
Attackers'
see,
objective is to
at
locate a bomb
some
and
point,
defuse it.
especially now that Rise are bringing out the Bandit, a Maverick coming out from OrgLess.
Yeah, I mean, Maverick's not an operator that you see a ton. I guess he sees a little bit of ban, but I think they seem to be doing very well with what they're doing so far on attack. I think that the Thatcher and IQ combination's working pretty well in conjunction with each other. Like you say, the Bandit is there, so there is the potential to maybe get a trick off there, but then we've got the book underneath, so it all sort of plays off against each other.
My main issue with bringing the Thatcher and the IQ here is there's no Jaeger, and normally when you're doing this combo, it's to like EMP the roof or something like that, so you can get rid of ADSs and you can quickly push off of it. But you don't even have to worry about that. You don't have to waste any time doing that. I honestly don't think, and I'm a big advocate for bringing a Thatcher pretty much every round. I don't honestly think that the Thatcher's adding in that much considering the lineup coming out from Rise Nation. Pretty much every single time, I honestly believe that you only need the IQ here. You have the book who can go below and you can take off the bandits off the wall, and you have nades on the table with no Jaegers, no ADSs, so it should be much easier for them to actually push up, and I think OrgLess has stagnated themselves a little bit, but at the same time, they're doing very well with it. Really good play from Hyper coming out there. He's going to save his bandit charge, successfully put it back on again. That's going to bait out a lot more utility than OrgLess really want to use here.
Yeah, they're definitely spending a lot of time trying to take over this office. C4 in hand now from Hyper. Just getting tempted to maybe do something with it. Flash grenades are going to come out, and it is going to, unfortunately for him, get caught with one of them. The nade comes out as well, but it does miss. He's able to get back onto his mirror and challenge this, but he's wasting a lot of time, and he's doing a very good job. You can see there, Yeti is going to push up and just make his way over toward the main door, just near the hatch. Hyper is almost certainly going to see that. Drones are going to come out as well, so the pressure's really on there for Hyper, but as I say that, Acid is operating for free over in CCTV and can maybe come in to assist this in some way. Acid there going to pick up the kill onto Ghost. My man is going for the sneak. He's sneaking around the corner. Hyper is ready on the angle, and he is there ready to get the kill. Does manage to make that a double as Yeti runs in to try and get that kill and make that a trade, but no. Hyper is able to pick up that kill and replace his battery, so he's going to be able to hold Fountain that little bit longer. He's done a great job there. He's been playing that angle for over a minute at that point, and he's able to pick up 2 kills off it and pretty much shut down the push coming from the rear as the Hibana charge now comes out to open up. But he's done a great job there. There's 20 seconds left on the clock. There's very little time now for OrgLess to make any sort of execute. Brian there going to pre-fire the wrong spot. Hyper, unfortunately, again for him, did get himself caught in a flash as the plant is almost certainly going to have to come down now. Acid there going to pick up the kill onto England. The Yokai drone is going to be there to deny anything. Vandal's going to get one onto Acid. Brian's going to get one of his own. It's all down to Vandal now. He does pick up 1 kill onto Crazy, and he's ready there to deny the plant, and he manages it. That's going to be a great play there from Vandal, getting the last kill and denying the plant all in the final few seconds.
Absolutely beautiful coming out from Vandal, but honestly, that round was won and lost around how Hyper played that Fountain Wall, because there's no ADS. OrgLess know there's only one person playing that Fountain Wall, so they have multiple ways in which they can do it. Okay, they're gonna yeah, we'll throw an EMP, we'll get rid of that mirror. Oh, he's just bandit tricked again. Okay, let's try and push up. Oh, he's thrown a nitro out. Okay, now he's using utility, but he's wasting time in that position. And they're like, okay, now we need to make a play. We're opening up Archives Wall. We need to deal with this guy in Fountain. Let's just crouch walk all the way up. Let's try and catch him by surprise. And if you die, don't worry, I'm going to refrag you. But guess what? It's Hyper R6. Don't worry. He's got it. He's going to just slam 2 people off the ground. And not only that, his repositioning was so good. And it really screams to OrgLess. Again, just the lack of persistent droning that's coming out and the lack of intel. It's something that Rise Nation were dealing with a lot worse during their attacks. It's coming out from OrgLess again that Brian is flashbanging out, and he's pre-firing where he thinks Brian should be, where Hyper should be at that point. He goes for that, and it's a good thing that Hyper was flashed at that point, because Brian would have died, and Hyper would have got 3k playing the same exact area. What should have happened here from OrgLess, and I believe if there had been an ADS on the board here, and if Diego had been a possibility, they would have done this instead. They should have gone Fountain once they got CC control and opened up that instead with Habana.
Yeah, it makes it a lot harder to play in the Fountain area if you're getting the back open as well as you're getting some pressure from the front. So, like you say, that's something that would be is a little bit more achievable if you do bring the double hard breach. I know you're going to lose out on a little bit of utility elsewhere, but you are going to be able to. Ooh, look at this peak that's coming out. Doesn't quite manage it. Gets punished for it. Hyper there has gone from hero to zero in the space of a round as he just tries a very strange crawl into the barricade kind of a run out peak. But Acid is there to pick up that kill and makes very short work of him. So no doubt his teammates on Rise are going to be screaming at him for that one because
no, it's a good run out to do, right? Because if you open up the bottom of the barricade and you crouch under it instead, so as you come out of Valley spawn, you're going to check that door and you're going to go, oh, it's closed, and you're going to look away, and then all of a sudden, Hyper's there and he's going to kill you. But I mean, OrgLess are a little bit too smart for that. Also, Hyper misses his shot, and then he tries to come in, and then bam, he's insta-traded. But I think it's honestly, it's just one of those things where he wouldn't have done the spawn peak unless they had told him to do that.
Yeah, maybe you're at that. Yeah, you're definitely right there. There's obviously some reason behind it, but I don't know. In the position that they're in, when OrgLess are on match point, it does just seem a little bit careless at that stage because he's gone from having such a great round and being so important there. They're just going to be losing out on that manpower. But Ghost there is going to even up the odds a little bit and take out Brian as the Hibana there is going to fall. And that's going to be quite big because nothing's been opened as yet, but no droning going to be coming out from Yeti, and Vandal's going to punish him, playing in the Fountain angle, just really not expecting him there. Vandal there possibly even playing off some intel on one of his Valkyrie cameras that he's got. England just going to be holding the bottom of stairs and Teller and making a rotate back all the way down onto bathroom, just getting himself ready to get back into sight. As the smoke there, he's not really going to want to push that all too much at all, but my man's going to get the flick there onto Vandal. The MPX there not doing Vandal any favours as the body shots come in, but ultimately were not enough onto the book of my man there. So Ghost is going to be, I think, one of the only remaining defenders playing upstairs as the pulse information is now coming out from Beastly, as he's just going to be deciding where this push, or finding out, sorry, where this push is going to be coming from. And it looks as though Ghost is itching to get going there. He's definitely ready for some sort of a peek onto Archive, but my man there is waiting for it. The drone work is going to be coming out this time from Acid, not going to be making the same mistake twice with poor drone work. So no doubt that he's going to get found there as the frag grenade, I think, comes out. Crazy's going to push in. Beastly going to pick up a C4 kill onto my man. That's going to make Ghost job a bit easier. He managed to pick up a double in the end and get a kill onto both Crazy and Acid. What a great play from Legion there.
Absolutely amazing from Ghost. I mean, he gets a 3k overall, just holding down upstairs the entire round. He plays it really well. Sorry, 4k, because he picks the Habana, and then Yeti moves into Fountain, isn't even looking at him. And that was the big thing for me, is that OrgLess not only having problems with persistent droning here and keeping up to date with where the defenders are playing, Yeti is peeking out, expecting this Legion to be in Archives, and he completely peeks it the wrong way. He doesn't even check the corner because he's that confident there's no one playing Fountain right now, and he goes down for it. And OrgLess are just getting punished so heavily for the lack of intel on their part. And it's something that Rise came up with badly as well. We are going to see a Thermite finally on the board coming out from Brian here, as we are going to see a Customs and Supply Room defense.
How many times have we seen teams get themselves up to match point and just not able to convert that and not able to carry the momentum through to be able to take that first map win? Because looking at the way that the first phase went when OrgLess were on defense and the first couple of rounds they had on attack, you just think that this was a clean stretch for them. But Rise Nation have really woken up and they've really started to bring their A game, and it's just really sort of flowing in Rise Nation's favour at this point. I feel like they've got the momentum, and I think this could go, all the way. I think we could be seeing them picking up another couple of rounds here and just nicking this one away from OrgLess.
You can't play that out like it was a charity ad. How many times do we see teams unable to close out matches? Please donate today to stop teams from not being able to close out and completely choking the match. But we're going to get through. It's going to be 6-4 to OrgLess so far. Still match point on Border, which we're expecting to be a good victory for them coming out. But we also make the point that not only is Rise comfortable with this map, clearly both teams are. We talked about how competitive Border is, how pretty much every team knows it very well, and that may be affecting how OrgLess have been playing around it. But also, on top of that, there's been a weird ban coming out, and there's not every day you see a Jaeger ban coming out on border. It can be very weird to try and play around.
It just opens a lot of things up on the attacker side of things, you know, and the defender side of things as well, because you obviously end up with, well, with the way that the ban's played out this time, you end up with both Echo and Mirror with the Maestro being banned. Yeti being hyper-aggressive here, still got the breaching charge in hand, and he's going to be able to open up archives into Armory as well. Just putting some pre-fires out to make a little bit of a peek hole, see if he can find anything. Looks like Yeti's a bit of a man on a mission at this stage. It seems like he wants to close this one out with the way that he ran in with a lot of purpose there over into office. Manages to get past Fountain as well, which is something that Rise have struggled with in the last couple of rounds, all the way into Armory, and now they're able to play off a mirror that was placed in Armory. The Echo drone is going to be there, but Yeti is going to find it, not before getting flashed. This time, I think the mirror window has been opened by Rise Nation, so they've certainly learnt from previous errors there as to when Yeti's been able to rush in and take control of a mirror. And is the castle going to peek this? Because it certainly looks as though they're going to be lining up for a double kill there. Claymore's going to get placed out, and it's going to be crazy. And Yeti just trying to take over some CCTV control as Acid is going to come to the aid as well, and Ghost's going to pick up the kill onto Crazy, but that's actually going to be a straight trade because Crazy's going to get the kill back onto Ghost. At the same time, Vandal, unfortunately for him, doesn't manage to find the angle onto Yeti, and Yeti is able to pick up that kill. So slowly, OrgLess are able to take CCTV control and move on to the site. My man there finding himself down in vents, just getting ready to challenge onto stairs. Does pick up the kill onto a prone England there on smoke. Not the best operator to be losing in the final minute. Currently it sits at 4 versus 2 in favour of OrgLess. Having said that, Acid there going to pick up the kill onto Beastly, so it's now all going to be down to Hyper on the Echo, and this surely is looking like game for OrgLess at this stage, although Hyper does get a kill onto the IQ, just misses his shots there onto Yeti, manages to draw for the bearing, doesn't convert the kill. Yeti going to pick up that final kill, and I think a long time coming there for OrgLess. They were on match point for a couple of rounds, but judging off that last attack, they certainly deserved it.
They certainly deserved it indeed. You see Acid, he's pulled out the IQ MVP, of course, and then we're going to see OrgLess, who do take map number 1. Very well-deserved victory for them on border, but that's not a big surprise. A bit of surprise on the Jaeger ban, I would say. But overall, I would think that's the kind of scoreline we were expecting, but look at that. Acid, 15 for 7.
Yeah, Acid did some great work there, and Ghost as well. Ghost picking up 10 kills, doing his bit for the team. I think it was always going to be a close one because we'd seen both teams play border, and they obviously had a very good idea of how it was going to play out and what they were going to do when they got there. I think, if I'm being honest, OrgLess maybe did that to themselves in how long it took for them to finally convert that match point. And I think it was just maybe a couple of scenarios of slightly sloppy drone work and unfortunate circumstances that led to Rise there being able to pick up a couple of rounds. But ultimately they got the job done in the end, and that's all that matters, so they're going to take the first map.
I think, again, that we mentioned about kind of sloppy drone work coming out, but it's all about persistent drone work. There was really good drones coming out from both teams at the start, and that allowed them to take so much early control, and that allowed effective Candela usage, especially coming out from Rise. But then we get further into the round, then we see people holding weird angles, and we see them just surprising attackers like that, and it's just horrible to notice that coming through. Obviously, it's a hard thing to do, to have persistent droning coming out through the map and keep your tabs on the defenders, but that is something that both teams really, really struggled with. And I really thought because of that, it was going to swing into overtime.
It definitely had the potential to swing into overtime. I mean, I did comment on it in that final round, is that Yeti was really running in with purpose, and it looked as though he'd said, right, that's it, I've had enough of this, we're going to get this round, this is what I want to do. He classic Ash Rush, made his way well into sight, established good control, and I think there was certainly less mistakes in that last round, and that's something that had maybe been attributed to some rounds maybe going the other way onto Rise. It was just a couple of mistakes that OrgLess were making. Just, I don't know if they were maybe rushing to get that last round, and you kind of get into the mentality where, okay, it's only one more round that we need, we've got a couple of rounds to play with here, we can maybe try things out, or we're maybe just not going to take things as seriously. It's not all to play for on that exact round, but they certainly pick things up in the end.
This is the big advantage of having a best of 3.
Yeah.
Because in a best of 1, you have to play perfect Siege to get away with that series. Here, Rise not. They're kind of. I think they're kind of expecting going into this, expecting to lose the map. Maybe people will say that's a losing mentality, and you should be expecting to win the map. But at this point, you've got to think about map ban economy as well. That you're going to the second map in Villa. This is your map choice. This should be good. Coming out from Rise, we've seen them play Villa before. We've seen them win it twice during these qualifiers so far. They've been doing very, very well on it, and it's still, as we mentioned before, it's still a new map to competitive. There's still a lot of interesting things you can do with it. And I feel like Rise, because they banned out the Jaeger, they're going to continue to do experimental things because this is a game they desperately need to win. Both teams do.
Well, this is where it's really going to start to heat up a little bit, I think, because Rise have certainly got no opportunity to sleep on any of these rounds on Villa. They really need to start taking these rounds from the get-go. They don't want to get themselves into a deficit, and they want to, ultimately, if they don't win this game, it's going to be a quick best of 3 because it's going to be OrgLess that are going to be going through to play against Space Station. But obviously, they've still got all the chance in the world, and I'm sure that Rise are going to bring something here because Villa is the only map that they've played more than once in this series.
Yeah.
Or in this qualifier, should I say. So it's a map that they're obviously comfortable on. It's a map that they've obviously got some developed sort of strategies. And like you say, there's a lot yet to be seen from Villa because we've not seen it for so long. It's not been in the rotation for all that much time. So it's going to be exciting to see what they bring out this time.
It's definitely been more popular this season, but there we go. We're going to go to the rolling hills of Tuscany as we're going to go into Villa here. It's going to be map number 2. This is Rise Nation's map choice, but they are down a map. They desperately need to take this map. They need to take it to either side of Oregon, or else they will fall. They will not be rising up.
Bit of time being considered over this first attacker ban from OrgLess, and it's going to be coming out as the Glass.
Again, coming out from OrgLess, pretty standard coming out from them. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really much to say about that. It's a very, very default ban, especially coming out in Villa, where you can play a Glass very, very aggressively. You can take a lot of control. You can kind of play in that rogue secret playstyle where you smoke out the entire site and you just put Glass in the middle and just kills everyone because it's Glass, you can see through smoke. So we'll see how that goes down, and we'll see how that plays out as Rise actually ban out the Maverick here. I'm not sure how I feel about that because it is a bit of an interesting ban, but I will say for a Vault take, especially on this map, obviously, because Vault is the only site here, but that Vault rotate, if you cut that off with a Maverick, it completely destroys you. And in fact, that Maverick is almost completely silent. You're not going to hear that. If someone's playing an Echo in Vault, and all of a sudden Maverick opens up behind you, you can lose a lot of operators. So I like the Maverick ban there. With the Echo ban coming out here from Rise, and OrgLess are going to be given the final one here. I'm kind of expecting the Maestro ban here from them.
Yeah, I think Maestro holds a lot of value on Villa. Although, there we go. We're going to be proved wrong. We're going to see the mirror ban. Well, it'd be nice to see where the Evil Eyes get placed, I guess, because I think that the Evil Eyes certainly hold a lot of value on Villa. There's some interesting spots that they can be placed, and it just forces the attackers to expose themselves to deal with them a little bit. Another good piece of information gathering. But yeah, the Echo and the mirror ban. It's a shame we can see the Echo ban. I do quite like the Echo on Villa, but like you say, Glass is just so powerful on this map. It really is, no shock that he's not been allowed through.
Yeah, no, it is a bit of a shock, but we'll see how it does go through, as we'll see round number 1 getting underway. And the Legion obviously getting takes. I'm kind of surprised a little bit that there's no shield coming out here from Rise. Just because shield's very, very powerful here. Of course, there's a Legion on the play here, so it's not going to be too good. And, I mean, if you're going to take a shield player to somewhere, taking them to Villa is not that bad. While shield can be very, very dominant, Legion can be very effective as well. There's a lot of short corridors where you can put Legion Mine really far down. And I was talking to Milosh's chat on his Twitch stream earlier about this, in that if you get Legion Mine in the middle of a hallway, most players will pull back and they'll try and get the Legion Mine out. You're wasting so much time doing that, especially if you're playing a shield and you're trying to cover, because then every one of the attackers has to go out that hallway as well. So if you get Legion Mine, really, you ought to just push and kill whoever's waiting for you on the other side of that Legion Mine.
Yeah, it's a difficult sacrifice because the instinct is to stop taking the damage and to get it out so that you can move at your full capability. But this is the Maestro cam that I do really like. The Evil Eye there placed above the hatch and then the hatch destroyed.
Well, I also quite like on the very opposite side of it. Yeah, yes, he's going to do that one. But if you do on the opposite side as well, it can be a bit hidden. If you open up the bookcase a little bit, something that Ents like to do, and you can actually put the maestro cam in there as well, and that can be quite hidden. It also does give you a bit of good opportunity to abuse any Montaigne that might push down the hallway, which is a pretty typical push. But we're going to see Hyper on the Ash. He's going to move all the way through onto main entrance and quickly make his way onto the south stairs. And yeah, he's already doing work. Taking out Legion Mines, putting down flank watch drones as well, and making sure that no one can push this hallway. So this is looking like a steady take coming out from Rise.
Study take, Glaz is always very powerful on a study take, and that's possibly one of the reasons why he was banned. But Hyper there going to be just maybe peeking out onto 90. Probably can't quite see that the Maestro playing at the bottom of 90 corridor there. I think the Lantern may just be in his way, but some hanging baskets off the wall, I guess, are going to get shot, and that's going to give Hyper all the information that he needs to just not peek that just yet. England there just trying to find a nice small angle there through the site with a little bit of a Hibana hole that he's made, and it looks as though full study control has been gained there by Rise, and they're just sort of taking the time now and doing some good drone work to figure out where the rest of this push is going to be coming from. Vandal there putting a little bit of pressure onto Vault Window. If he throws a nade through there, that would be a pretty easy kill there onto the Maestro that's playing down in the bottom of 90.
And there's no Jaeger on the board either coming out from OrgLess, so that would be a very easy nade as well. But I think Rise are very concerned with the fact that all they need really is just control. Hold down onto the hallway, do what they can there, take out anything they can, and Hyper has the flank watch drone as well, and then just take Study instead. They don't even have to push the Maestro out of it. And see Hyper is just laying down into this area. Oh, the impact trick from Acid, that's beautiful. He's to be able to do what he can there, but Yeti is going to take up Vandal, but he's going to actually get two. Hyper goes down as well, but he does get traded out instantly by the very same attacker that he just killed. Now it's a 3v4, looking pretty good for OrgLess though, because Yeti takes out two, and that's book off the table as well.
Yeah, Yeti's done a great job there, wasting a lot of time just by holding that 90 corridor. All it needed was the Maestro, obviously, the Evil Eye, and to be able to hold it in that way. Just, you know, totally cut down Hyper's push as Ash, and really rendered Ash pretty useless in that scenario. And the smoke grenades now are going to start coming out. Final 20 seconds on the clock. My man holding an angle onto East Stairs. Oh, England does manage to find his head, though, making that a 3 versus 3. Brian has got no smoke grenades left. Does put a little bit of damage there. Friendly into Crazy as he picks up the kill onto Ghost. Crazy picking up another one onto Beastly. England getting the kill back onto Crazy. All the defenders have got to do is stay alive at this point. Brian there going to peek out a vault, pick up the final kill, and take out England. First round there going to be going to OrgLess.
And a quick test of the CT coming out from Brian there, of course. No toxicity. No, none of that. Yeah, obviously. As we're going to move into round number 2, really good job from OrgLess to completely shut down the attack. It was almost a great rotate coming out from Rise because they came way further into the site than I think OrgLess expected them to be able to get control of, and England almost clutches that through. Unfortunately, gets shut down. And I think a lot of that came out from aggressive peaks coming out from OrgLess right at the last second with the SMG-11s, which are very, very effective up close. And again, though, from Rise, they wouldn't have had to do that rotate if they had dealt with Yeti earlier, or they had just not pushed that hallway and just smoked out and pushed that way, because I think that would have been a lot more effective, honestly. They could have dealt with the Maestro on the site, and they could have pushed that way instead of trying to push out 90, not from below.
Yeah, I think it maybe comes down to a little bit of time management again, and it's something that we did see Rise suffer with on Border, is they just don't quite leave themselves that much time to execute in those final few seconds. I think what they end up doing at like between 20 and 40 seconds is maybe something that they should be doing at between like a minute and a minute 20, and just trying to speed up that process just a little bit to give them more time in that late stage, because they do just end up running out of time, and that's why they have to peak and make the mistakes and stuff like that. But ultimately, OrgLess are doing a great job of wasting that time and making it so difficult for them to gain any control, and they're really having to change up what they're doing on the fly.
This is kind of what I was talking about before with the Maestro cam normally going down here, but you can put as well. But Man is going to do. This is normally fairly aggressive from teams, that they'll try and hold on to sort of the bar gaming area for as long as they can, and then slowly rotate back and normally reinforce the wall. And it looks like we are going to see that coming out from OrgLess. They normally play Legion fairly aggressively there as well. I have seen Frost used here as well in this specific defense, just because look at the amount of windows you have to hop in here to get master bedroom control.
Yeah, Frost certainly comes into her own whenever there's a lot of windows at play. I know You know, Frost and Skyscraper, name a better duo. You know, and like we've seen in previous games earlier this evening on Border, Frost did some good work over in CCTV. So yeah, it is an operator that does seem to see a bit of play on Villa as well. There we go, Hyper just struggling to get the cam there. Yeti getting a great peek there onto Hyper, managing to find their head on that quick peek and just giving us a little bit of a dance of excitement as he's clearly very pleased with himself that he managed to pick that one up there. It's a very good pick to get early on as well.
Yeah, Hyper just got deleted there. There's nothing really you can do against such a machine that is Yeti. As you will peek it out, and then we'll go. That's Hyper off the board already. I mean, that's one of your better fraggers, yeah, but it's also you're losing your Ash, you're losing a lot of your soft breach potential from below, and it's going to be the Buck who's going to have to try and make up for it. Vandal's going to go below, and he's going to try and open up the floor just a little bit coming out here. OrgLess still doing very, very well to just completely hold this down, though.
Yeah, they're just not really giving anything away. They're not in a position where they really need to peek all too much, although vertical there, almost getting the kill onto, I believe it would have been Crazy. I think Maestro there seeing just a slight bit of damage. But just speaking on the Ash as well, it removes the ability to deal with Maestro cams very easily. Obviously, Ash's breach and charge is going to be one of the better ways of dealing with Maestros, not having to cook a grenade or something like that. So a big loss early doors. But Yeti's still just being allowed to play downstairs as the drone come in. I'm not sure if he's been called out there, but he's certainly playing pretty close to Vandal and maybe just waiting for the right moment to peak, and he does choose the right moment. Yeti there going to pick up on the Buck, who's trying to make some disruption from below. So Yeti's doing a great job of playing these backstairs. He's got the ADS there, so he isn't really going to be worried too much about getting grenaded out, but no grenades left on the table. Now he's taking the Buck out and he's able to peek onto Bathroom. There's Beastly there holding an angle, but my man with the crouch peek picks up that kill onto Beastly with Valkyrie. Acid getting another one there onto Ghost. 1 versus 5. It's all down to England. He's in a tough spot there in Master Bedroom. My man going to pick up his second of the round, and that's going to be another round on the board for OrgLess.
Yeah, and they take that round completely flawlessly as well, completely shutting down all the attack. I honestly think that was win and loss around how Yeti played that. He played it very, very smart and very, very aggressive, and I guess he's just better because you mentioned that you don't know if Vandal's actually spotted him out or not, but the way that Vandal was playing that, he was like bucking above and then instantly looking around, exactly where Yeti was. He clearly knew there was someone who was there, and they knew that Yeti was playing the bottom of the stairs before because he got a pick. But I think
there was a drone on him.
Yeah, I think Yeti's just better.
Which kill was better? Was it Yeti's kill or my man's kill?
I think it was Yeti's kill. I mean, my man did really well to get that entry, right? But, well, the reverse entry, I suppose. But I still think that Yeti had the more impact on that. Because at that point, my man can get traded, but no one's playing the Yeti. He has to win that fight, or else he just loses control. Some may say that's kind of a dumb thing to do, playing on your own like that and trying to take the gunfight, but he's taking a gunfight against the Buck, who's actively trying to open up upstairs as well. So, you know, him pressuring that and him just making the Buck waste time, just looking in behind, he may have actually forced out a rotate coming out from Rise as well there. So, do's and don'ts there, pros and cons, but we'll go through into round number 3. Looking very strong for OrgLess right now on, you know, traditionally a very defender-sided map.
5 seconds to insertion.
But, you know, this is just not looking good for Rise. For a team that's already played Villa twice and won both times, they are not really looking that great.
No, and it's difficult. I think the loss that they suffered on Border, it's maybe weighing on them a little bit more heavily than it perhaps should. But they've not really come out here and done anything spectacular just yet. I mean, you commented on it, OrgLess went flawless the last round, so, you know, Rise even struggling to get the kills and to make anything happen in that respect as well. But we're dealing with a slightly different bomb site this time, going to be downstairs, so it all depends on how they're able to push this. And I think that if they're able to take some good control and to kind of try and limit OrgLess a little bit and to try and pin down players like Yeti, who's just being allowed to play on the backstairs yet again as the drones are flying in, they're going to have to try and single these players out and you know, make crossfires and set up ways that they're going to be able to deal with them, because ultimately it seems as though they're kind of not dealing with the roamers and it's causing them a little bit of a problem later on.
It is causing a problem, and Villa's one of those maps where you can play fairly aggressively on the roam, and it's pretty easy for you to rotate around, and I'm glad that the Jackal's being used a bit more effectively coming out here from Beastly, because in previous rounds, we didn't really see him Jackal tracking that much, and when he was, people were on the site. So you can play this very aggressively, and I mean, if you go back to US Nationals as well, when it was Cloud9 versus Evil Geniuses, that whole game on Villa was all about Canadian versus Foxay, and it was all about the Jackal tracking coming through on Villa. So it can prove how powerful that roam game can be. But oh my god, what a nitro from Massey, just misses! Oh, that is disappointing. But now he has the intel that they're down there. Now the rotates can come through, and they know exactly what to expect from the push coming through, because, you know, Rise are stagnating a little bit here. Just about 1 minute left to go on the clock, and it's not looking amazing from them. But there's not a huge amount of planned denial coming out from OrgLess right now. As Flash is going out into the site, it looks like Rise are getting ready for their push.
Yeah, Rise need to be getting ready to execute now. Like you say, there's not a lot of time left. Yeti there going to suffer quite a large portion of his health. I think maybe from Hyper there, just trying to get a bit of revenge perhaps for last round, as Hyper's just holding on to the door. But a lot of angles being held here, and this is the time now where Rise really need to be starting to make this push. The pulse is going to be really crucial in gathering information. He's already got a really good idea of where the push is going to be coming from. Manages to jump on his heartbeat scanner again, just find out where that Hibana is. And he's lost his nitro cell, so he's lost a bit of his denial, as it were, but he's still got all this information. It looks as though perhaps Rise are making a bit of a rotate, but with only 20 seconds left on the clock, they've not got all the time in the world to be playing with. Yeti just getting ready to drop down from Astronomy as Ghost takes some big shots there. But I think there's a mute jammer there that's perhaps stopping those Hibana pellets from coming. Kills are going to come out thick and fast. Crazy onto Beastly. England going to pick up one. Hyper and England again, all going to be down now to Brian and Yeti, but Brian picks up a double in the end, and again we just see Rise Nation running out of time.
Well, so I kind of feel bad for them there though, because so they did their initial push from downstairs. They Jackal track there to make sure there's no one roaming downstairs, which is great, and good early control coming out from them. They got very lucky, the fact that the nitro barely missed them coming out, but at that point when they're getting nitroed through that ceiling rotate, they know that there's intel on them. So they're like, okay, now we have to rotate around. We're going to do it. We have plenty of time to do it, because it was about a minute left on the clock when they decided to rotate. Hibana comes through into Laundry, and she tries to open the wall. But as you said, there's a mute jammer on that wall. So now where do you go? Okay, now we've got to rotate all the way around. Now we need to push through kitchen side as well. We need to push all the way through. But at that point, as you said, they're running out of time. They just tried to do like 3 rotates, and it almost worked for them as well. But yeah, still looking really good for OrgLess right here, who have done so well throughout this series, just to play super safe, not peek anything they don't need to, and just waste the time, because Rise Nation are not taking good time efficiency from their perspective with their attacks.
No, and OrgLess are doing a great job as defenders. Just, you know, the clock is running down in their favour. They don't have to peek anything. They're able to just sit back and wait for Rise to play into their angles and to play into their plan. It's very easy sat here to say, you know, maybe what should have happened or what could have happened. And I'm not going in on anyone at all, but I can't help but think maybe Rise Nation could have taken a bit more vertical control. They had the book. If they'd have come in upstairs in master bedroom or through study, taken a little bit of upstairs, opened up some of the spots on the floor, it would have made it very difficult for the players of OrgLess to sit comfortably on the site. I know that we obviously had the pulse with the nitro in hand, but I think that got spent relatively early on in the round, and there was maybe enough time to think about that rotate upstairs, open some holes, cause a little bit of disruption, and maybe shift the angle of attack that way. Because as it stood, it just seemed like they were going through doorways in the end and just getting cut down. But we're going to see a defense again, and from OrgLess onto Aviator, and this time we're going to see a clash. I really like a clash on this objective. I think it's really effective.
I'm normally not a big advocate of clash, and I really don't like bringing it in most cases, because I don't think it really adds in as much as just a regular operator would. But yeah, as you said, in this case, on this particular site, I really love the clash. I think you can delay quite a lot of time, but not only that, you're giving a lot of intel. And looking at the lineup from Rise Nation, they don't actually have too much to do with the clash here, although I will say a good way of dealing with the clash on this particular site is a lot of this floor is destructible. And you can go below. They have the Ash, they have the Jackal, they have the Book, they have plenty of soft breaching potential to do that, and if they do it, I'll be impressed. If they don't, I'll be disappointed.
I think the advantage of the clash on this bomb site is that you're able to deal with both sides. So you're able to hold off the study if necessary, but you're also able to hold off against the back bush. And it's like you say, it's purely through the way that Villa has been built in that there's these sort of archways and doorways, and there's real pinch points within the corridors, and the corridors aren't that long. And that's really where Clash can kind of come into her own, because you're able to maintain that distance, you're able to maintain that steady flow of damage that's coming in and the slowing effect. And you can see there that she's been able to hold Game Room there pretty much unchallenged as she's putting shots there onto England. England just conscious of the east stairs as well, obviously not wanting to get peeked from there, but Vandal going to be coming out with a kill onto Yeti, so we're going to lose Maestro, and that's going to be a bit of a shame at this point, because those Evil Eyes can be very crucial, especially when there's a clash on the board, because if you're able to pin someone up with a clash and then use the Evil Eye to maybe cause a little bit of disruption, or can even gather the intel for the clash to play off, that can be a difficult thing. But my man there not going to see Ghost on the stairs. Acid going to pick up a kill onto England, and Brian picking up one of his own onto Hyper. The plant is going down as Ghost picks up a kill onto Brian. Clash is still in the site, but she's not really able to do all too much. But Acid picks up one kill, can't quite pick up the other. Beastly going to take out Crazy. All going to be down to Acid, doesn't quite manage it. Much better round from Rise there coming out.
I really don't think the Clash really did that much there at all. I don't like the Clash playing in that study as well, as he's like trying to rotate between the two pushes. But the problem is holding that doorway in particular, rather than playing the hallway on 90. I think there's a lot of ways that you can get rid of that Clash just from angles without having to go below at all, which Rise Nation didn't even do. So I think the Clash could have been played a little bit better there, but I get why they were playing it where it was. It was also unfortunate that Yeti peeked out and just got instantly just deleted as he tried to peek out behind the Clash. So do's and don'ts there coming out from both teams. I still think that Rise Nation didn't quite use their utility on the board that they had, but I loved, as I said, there's a reason this man is known as Yingland.
Well, he did a great job there. I think it was the Ying that enabled to sort of render Clash a little bit useless there, because it was the Ying push that came in that allowed the shock and or and disruption that those Candelas provide, and that was what ultimately pushed Clash back into the side, lost control of the doorway, and the plan went down. So it was very good use of the utility there from Rise, and they did a much better job there of managing the time. It really didn't come down into the final seconds. They took good control early on. They'd obviously done some great drone work and setting up some drones in the prep phase for the backside, so around Trophy and Master Bedroom, because they were able to come through there fairly quickly and not really cause, they weren't really too worried about anything that would have been going on there. Maybe a bit of a late flank from OrgLess would have come out there and been successful, but I think they had a pretty good lockdown of east stairs, so no real reason. But let's see what they do this time. Are they going to be able to do the same thing? We are going to the same bomb site, but that's going to be the first round that OrgLess are going to lose in quite some time. Let's see if this shift happens now, because Rise did seem to pick up a little bit of momentum on border as soon as they started chaining some rounds together.
Yeah, they definitely did. And we did talk a lot about momentum. I don't think that's a big deal in North America as it is in other regions, but it's definitely always a factor. It's that kind of team mentality that you're having along. It's that morale factor. And, sometimes it can get to you, but wow, what a shot from Hyper R6 himself. He takes Yeti off the board so early on. That's already the Maestro gone. You mentioned before when Yeti went down that it's a big kind of early kill coming out utility-wise. And I think you're right with when it's the Clash on the board. But otherwise, like losing a Maestro this early, sure, you're losing a pretty powerful gun in a late game situation. But other than that, you still have your utility. It's kind of like Jaeger, right? You put the ADSs down, that's it. There's a very passive utility normally. And Maestros don't normally get used that aggressively, so I still think it's a very, it's not a high impact kill, but it is a kill nonetheless. It is going to give them a good, decent one-man advantage this early on. It's good.
I mean, Maestro's the operator that's the clutch master, You're talking 81 rounds in an LMG on defense.
It's between him and Smoke.
What more could you want, And I guess it all depends on how well he's placed his cameras. If he's placed his cameras and then moved the point of view as to where he wants it to be, then fine. But if those cameras are kind of facing half on a wall and you've only really got the sound and you're not really getting full benefit out of it, that can play into it and be a bit of a problem. But it's getting to be a little bit of a clash of the titans here between Hyper and Yeti, because they seem to be going, frag for frag, first blood in each other every single round. Kill there going to come out onto my man from Vertical as Buck picks up a kill onto the Valkyrie.
The one thing I'll mention about this vault defense is you see they open up the very top with the vault reinforcement so they can impact trick it, but you don't need to do that. You can actually impact trick it from the drone hole, something that Remorse did a lot during the Invitational qualifiers with his team, looking for Org, previously known as Destruct, who are going to be playing Challenge League this season, but I prefer that because Rise Nation should be taking so many nades and you can nade back over that. But getting into the last 30 seconds now, it is going to be a 5v3. OrgLess not looking too good right now. Nades are going to start coming out. This is looking horrible for OrgLess right now, and the Ying starts to come out as well. Yinglin's going to make his way all the way into the site, but does go down. There's so many kills coming out, and all of a sudden it's all down to Crazy in a 3v1. The site is under the control of Rise right now as they try and push all the way in. There we go. Vandal picks up Crazy. Easy as that. Rise Nation find their second round on attack. Much better from them.
Yeah, they seem to really have this sort of aviator takedown now. They've managed to chain 2 rounds in a row there, having struggled in it on the first round of this map. But I think it's definitely time for OrgLess to maybe try somewhere else and look at Go. There we go. We're going to see it. We're going to see them switch over onto Trophy and just try and switch things up, keep things fresh. It doesn't seem to be working in Aviator for them at this point. I think Rise have got a very good handle on how they're going to take that back push, and we are going to see a shield coming out as well.
I like the shield here. I will say though, as I did mention before, okay, there we go. Never mind. Ying is going to get stakes picked here from the Montaigne, and we're going to see Crazy actually going to pick up the Mute. I wonder if he's running Mute Shotgun here. I would like to see him run Mute Shotgun. He might have done that actually for the Montaigne.
Yeah, the shotgun can be devastating. We've seen so far just these qualifiers
not only
are
that,
devastating.
like you're bringing Signal Disruptor, so it's going to mean that Montaigne can't move as quickly as you might want to, and you're going to bring in Nitro as well. So it's decent counter coming up from Montaigne. He might have done it from the Montaigne, but you know, there's a lot of factors that have been coming in. It might have just been a bait altogether of them bringing the Maestro to try and bait out more soft destruction rather than them bringing the shield. But we'll never know for sure. We're going to go through into round number 6. It's going to be the final attack coming up from Rise Nation. It's looking pretty good for them so far.
They've certainly woken up a little bit. They've chained 2 rounds together in Aviator. Now OrgLess have decided to switch things up a little bit and go over to Trophy, which I think is definitely the right thing to do at this point because they're obviously, not quite able to deal with Rise's push in Aviator. And we have seen a bit of an operator switch around as well, which can be good to, sort of change things up a little bit. I know that Yeti and Hyper have been sort of going toe-to-toe on First Blood, and I wonder if Yeti's maybe switching over onto Jaeger, just trying to play things a little bit more differently and not kind of be stuck down as a 3 armor that maybe is a little bit slow. Maybe he's going to be able to feel like he can play off that a little bit better as the push is going to come through from Study. Some drone work going through, and Hyper not wasting any time, getting straight through into game. Crazy is down at this point. I think he's been down from the window by Vandal, but he is going to get reset, so he will be back, but only with half health. Vandal causing an absolute nuisance out there on the west balcony. Just putting a bit of pressure onto the site, letting the defenders know that they're not able to operate also freely in and around as the push does come through from Aviator. As Hyper there is just going to get into his drone, figure out what the setup's going to be and how they're going to tackle that. Brian just going to be holding tight, no real need to push anything at this point from OrgLess. But I'd maybe like to see, yeah, here we go, we've got my man. He's going to be waiting on I think that's East Stairs, just playing off his Valkyrie cameras, figuring out if there's anywhere that he's able to push from and come up with a bit of a flank. Valkyrie camera there just gets spotted, but he's still in the position and still able to come out with this late flank. And I think this is really what's going to do OrgLess some favours if they are able to come out with some sort of a late flank, whether that's through Study Stairs or whether that's through East Stairs. That's going to be the difference, because so far they've not come up with that, and Rise have been very good at just taking one side of the map and then pushing through brute force.
Yeah, there's definitely been quite a lot of that from Rise, especially in the later rounds that we've seen. And a lot of this has been all about, again, from Rise, relying quite heavily on the Ying pushes, but this time it's been working out quite well for them because they've managed to set it up quite well. And there we go, Ying push already going to come through from England. He gets all the way in there, but no, Crazy takes him down. Oh my god, what a peak coming out from Crazy. And the Nitro goes out as well. That's going to deny the plant. That's a 2k from Crazy. He may just win this round. He gets a 3rd. Oh my god, what is happening right now? Acid picks up 1 more, and now it's all Nanto Ghost in a 1v4 to try and recover the round. He's still got 40 seconds left to do it. but he's not got a lot of control. He doesn't have a lot of utility. He doesn't have a lot of hope. You know what he does have? He has a 5.52 and his wits about him. He's going to try and push all the way in to see what he can do, see what picks he can get, but he's running out of time. This is not looking too good for him. He does get Legion Mind as well, and there we go, he does push in. He does actually get the kill onto Acid, but Brian instantly trades him out, and there we go, OrgLess do take that round. Wow.
I think that's 3 or 4 trades that we've seen tonight that have been, you know, 1-for-1 trades, and it's just not something you see all the time. That's crazy. It just goes to show the level that these guys are playing at, and I think OrgLess did a great job there. Crazy, definitely, you know, definitely very influential in that round with Mutes SMG, the Nitro Cell to deny the plant, just getting the diffuser all locked away in the site.
It's not just that, it's the fact that, so what Rise did there is they smoke as the Ying is coming through. So the Ying is stopping anyone from pushing through the smoke and denying the plant. He's got so much control, but the Ying dying as early as he did because of Crazy completely tore apart Rise there. And I've said it every single time that Rise have been bringing Ying. They've been relying on it so much. And I'll admit, England has been doing a great job on Ying compared to how Vandal was playing and, well, generally how Rise Nation were playing around the Ying during Border. But again, I can't help but feel that as soon as that Ying falls, everything else just falls apart. And you saw that the smoke cover was there. That just allowed the defenders to move up and allow Crazy to get off a great Nitro, pretty much winning the round.
Yeah, maybe it was a case that the smoke wasn't quite deep enough, because he did seem to come out of the smoke relatively quickly.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I think if the smoke had been a little bit deeper, it would have allowed him to play and, you know, get further into the side before getting seen.
So the issue with putting a smoke that deep is that I don't think earlier on they flashed that deep, so they don't know if there's an ADS, because normally a lot of teams will play an ADS between where the bomb is and where the big statue is in statue room. And that's a really hard ADS to get rid of. So potentially that's what they're thinking. Maybe been thinking, let's just smoke here and let's just go for the plant now. We've got the Ying cover, and that's just kind of what they did. Mistakes coming out all across the board, really, and that's kind of just how it goes sometimes. And it's easy for us to sit here and go, oh yeah, this is what we should have done, but it's always a hard thing to do right there and then in the moment. Anyway, we're going to get through into round number 7. It's going to be OrgLess who move onto the attack. This is defender-sided, so this is kind of what we were expecting scoreline-wise.
I don't think that Rise can be too disappointed with the scoreline at this stage. They had some, you know, flashes of brilliance on the attacks of Aviator, and they really managed to nail that down. So they've done very well to get to 2 rounds to 4, and it's now going to be on OrgLess. We saw in Border they did really struggle to convert that final round, so it's going to be interesting to see if they do struggle to convert these next couple of rounds to pick up a few more and get themselves onto match point. Yeti going to be getting a good track there onto Legion. There's a hell of a lot of barricades going down now over on the master bedroom and statue side. So obviously just trying to slow that push down a little bit. We've got the Legion mines as well. We've got the pulls perhaps playing underneath. All these things are going to lead into just wasting a bit of time for OrgLess, which is of course going to be playing right into Rise's favour.
Yeah, and it's looking really good for Rise right now. My main concern, well not concern, my main big point about this defense is that they have a great place for a pulse and Illusion to be playing, and Illusion can really rotate through into Vault, Beastly's sitting in a great position, but it's not going to mean everything because Hyper will go down so early on as he tries to push out 90. Not looking too good for them right now, as Acid will Thatcher the whole way out. That's going to make sure there's no Legions there as well. It's going to allow him to push up, but it's also getting rid of the bandits on the wall, so it's giving OrgLess options. That's what they need.
Yeah, in England, they're just playing a tight angle against the door. Great place to play with the shotgun. He's going to be getting that out, ready for anyone that could be peeking. But there's going to be no one challenging the doorway too heavily. We've got one player either side of 90. Ghost's going to be underneath, just waiting for the right time to make that flank, which surely is going to be coming pretty soon as we lead into the final 30 seconds. Yeti, more than aware of his presence. Ghost manages to peek out and get the kill. That was a great headshot. Throws the C4, doesn't manage to connect. England picking up a double with that shotgun. 4 versus 2 now in favour of Rise. All down to Crazy and Brian. England going to make a triple and pick one up onto Crazy, as it's now all down to Brian outside of Study, just trying to push his way into game room. He's going to get pinched from either side. Brian does manage to take one onto Ghost, but England there making it a 4K and picking up that final kill onto Brian. 3 nice kills there with the shotgun. England
on the smoke with the shotgun in gaming room. Name a more iconic Cluedo reference. So yeah, and he's played that constantly for Rise, and yeah, as during last season's Pro League as well, he was constantly through that. He was just holding down that like his life depended on it because it very much did. And he is a great smoke. He's constantly been shutting down pushes coming out. Interestingly, not actually going to be playing the smoke this round, but I think it's because of the site choice more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is about the smoke is that it's very valuable to play it on multiple different sites because it's just a great operator. I mean, they've still brought it. They've brought it on Vandal this time. We've just in England maybe switch out. Vandal's perhaps saying, you know, I want to do it, getting the 3K with a shotgun. So
yeah.
give him over to me. Let me get some kills. Let me get my KD up a little bit. But now Legion there. Still a very important operator for this bomb site, and it's nice to see that they're going to be making some holes upstairs just to be able to play off a little bit. Nothing too big, but just making some small peak holes that they're going to be able to use later on in the round, and a little bit of utility being deployed there as well.
Yeah, and this site is very controversial for me. So during the European Open qualifier earlier on,
5 seconds to go.
Extreme Video were playing this quite a lot. They were playing the living room, and they were playing also the kitchen as well downstairs. This is not a great site to hold down, and I don't know, the setup here is all about the upstairs control coming out from Rise Nation. I think it's more about, I'm pretty sure they're playing double shotgun here with both the mute and the smoke. So they both got shotguns, they're both going to hold upstairs, they've both got the soft destruction, and they both have the ability to hold down tight angles, as we just saw how effective the shotgun could be on those tight angles in game room. The problem is, OrgLess, they don't even have to contest that. They might not even have to go upstairs. They are going to choose to do so at the moment, it looks like, to try and tear this defense apart from upstairs. But either way, they either take upstairs control, and they have everything they can do because they have a sledge on the board and they have an ash, so there's a lot of soft destruction from them. They either do this, or they go downstairs, just open up that wall and plant there and cover the upstairs easily enough. Maybe with just opening up a little bit of this and then rotating everyone downstairs. Don't forget as well, they do have smokes on the board.
Ooh, the bandit trick there going to come out from Hyper, and Brian's going to choose to use him on a soft wall instead, which I think Bandit will struggle to trick on the soft wall, but maybe even a mute jammer up there. So there's 3 defenders that are really holding down upstairs pretty hard. That then gets destroyed. My man's going to move in and get the kill onto England. That's going to be Legion down relatively early on, just about halfway into the round. So not all too many goo mines out there to worry about. My man's got himself hidden there behind Vault Door. Hyper, pretty aware of his presence there, and just going to be holding a pretty tight angle from behind the bar in game room over onto my man. But no kills going to come out as of yet. OrgLess spending quite a bit of time making sure that they were able to clear out this upstairs, but they are doing it very slowly but surely. 2 kills going to come out there back to back as Ghost and Hyper are going to fall. And that's now going to be most of their job done. They've done that very well of OrgLess with a minute left on the clock. They spent 2 minutes clearing out some roams there. Vandal's going to get pressured. Crazy's going to pick up that kill. All now lies on the hands of Beastly. Does manage to pick up 1, but gets traded out straight away by Brian. So OrgLess there, by taking the upstairs control and seeing that there was 3 people playing up there. And I think that if you're going to invest 3 people, you've got to have a plan to be able to rotate back, because at the point where those 3 people die without getting a single kill, it's very easy then to go on and take the site.
Yeah, and we were talking about the viabilities of sites and the viability of how differently you can take that, and OrgLess seem to be all about giving themselves options. Like, they're constantly pressing the attack on any side that they can see, and they're not letting them make it obvious where the push is coming from. You know, unlike how Rise Nation were doing it, especially when they were attacking border, they were kind of just pushing all their utility onto one side and just hoping something breaks. Admittedly, they were doing it pretty well in terms of scouting, and they did manage to pick up 2 rounds purely off the back of the Ying on border, and here as well, they've managed to pick up attack rounds on Ying as well. So they've been doing well to just hammer out that defense from one side. The problem is with that is that OrgLess can respond quite quickly. You see that Rise haven't been able to do the same thing just because the amount of options that OrgLess have given them. It kind of reminds me a little bit about how Reciprocity play, well, how they played last season anyway, and how they've just been kind of like opening up as much as they can, trying to hold the angles, trying to push from most sides, but not playing aggressive, not playing solo. There has been a little bit of solo play from OrgLess, but that mostly comes through on the defense. I'm not that bothered about it.
No, I mean that attack was very well. It was very well oiled, if you will. You know, they were all working together, all pushing the same thing. They made very short work of the defenders. I just think that Rise maybe spread themselves a little bit too thin there, and also kind of overcommitted to 1 or 2 rooms. I don't know how they would have done it differently, but maybe even playing a pulse down in like pottery or something like that to be able to tell when the push is coming through.
It's also about
rotate off
positioning there from them, because my man goes in and he gets the first entry kill, and there's someone else playing there, but he can't trade him because they're too far apart. And you mentioned about how they're playing too far apart. You mentioned about how they kind of spread themselves thin. I definitely agree with that, because there weren't any really big refrags coming out there from Rise, and you got to kind of question why you're playing that heavy of a roam if you're not having the constant ability to trade off each other.
England there going to manage to pick up that drone. My man is certainly going to be aware of his presence. Sticking the shot down onto the barricade, but the Valkyrie has since rotated off. And just going to get away with his life there. I thought that was going to be a really early entry kill there for my man again. It seems like he's switched over a little bit now. We did see Yeti picking Ash a little bit earlier on, but now my man is opting for that entry role and making good work of it. He picks up, like you say, he picks up the double kill on entry last game. Yeti just downstairs, just trying to find out some footprints, maybe trying to root out some defenders. But Rise are going to come out with a bit of a rotate here. They're going to go all the way downstairs as the Jackal scan comes out, and we will see who that is. That is Valkyrie. So Valkyrie is going to get detected on this late. Well, I guess it's not so late, but she's going to get detected on this long roam, if you will, and it's going to lock her down to the basement at this stage, because there's only a couple of ways up from there, and that's going to be something that OrgLess are going to be able to capitalize on. Acid there is going to pick up the kill onto the Legion, and Hyper is going to get the kill straight back onto Yeti. So the Jackal track will be no longer, and it will allow Valkyrie to play a little bit more freely, depending on where she does manage to pop up from the basement. The man, ooh, it did look like he had an angle there onto a player over in Statue, but Beastly is going to pick up the kill onto Acid. That's going to take us to a 4 versus 3 in favour of Rise Nation. The plant has gone down, and the smoke grenades are going to come out, but they are going to be too late. It's now all going to be on Rise to retake this site, as England and Hyper are going to be coming up the east stairs, just trying to make something happen. I'm not sure if they're aware of my man there, just holding that angle, but they do manage to peek around and get that kill, so they manage to, well, get the down, I guess, but Hyper is going to convert it. Brian is going to be watching the long angle. Beastly picking up one onto Crazy. All down to Brian now. He's got the bearing 9 in hand. The smoke grenade comes out. He picks up 1 kill, but England makes short work, and the defuse is going to stick.
Almost beautiful coming out from OrgLess, but as soon as that plant goes down and 4 people are off the site, I said there's only a couple of ways up, but neither of them were really being covered from OrgLess. Even though they knew people were downstairs in the basement because Jackal tracking came out, then the Jackal goes down to Hyper, who he wasn't tracking, so now he knows there's 2 people down there.
Yeah, I think my man was in a very difficult position there. I think he was perhaps a little bit scared to move further away, and he ended up holding a very close angle with an ACOG, which just didn't really play into his favour at all. I think it was the shotgun actually that got
as well, now that I think about it, there's not only 2 ways to get it, there's 3 ways, because there's also got Astro stairs.
Yeah, so they're spreading themselves thin in terms of, well, it was a good flank from Rise. I think that there's a lot to be said from that. It was a kind of flank, kind of a lurk. The flank started, they got Jackal tracked, or one of them did, but then Jackal got traded, so it made it a lot easier for them to be able to then fully commit to that. And I'm not sure if they ever knew that I'm not sure if OrgLess, ever knew that Hyper was actually down there with the Jackal, with the Valkyrie. So there are a lot of places to watch in that scenario, and I guess it's hindsight, but I really think that my man, he kind of just got pinned into a bad corner, which is just not a corner that you'd ever really choose to play in that scenario with an ACOG like that, because it did just leave him a little bit too overexposed.
Brian made a good decision there, although inevitably they lost the round. He realized he's not going to win a gunfight against 3 people, just kind of like chain peeking, if you get what I mean. Like one person peeks, then he comes back and the other person peeks out, and they can just kind of instantly trade off each other like that. So, we'll see how it goes down as we do move into round number 10 getting underway. OrgLess just a couple of rounds away from locking out the series in their favor and putting down Rise. But, this is looking like a much closer map than Border was.
well, the scoreline certainly reflects that. And as you say, we're up to round 10 now. We've got 4 for Rise, 5 for OrgLess. This really is anybody's, and at this point, I think if Rise are able to get the next round, that's really going to give them a good bit of momentum. And like we've said, it is slightly defender skewed, this map. So it does, you know, the odds are stacked in their favour, I guess. But we are seeing a Aviator hold this time, which I think is one that OrgLess have done well on historically.
They have done pretty well historically on this, but we'll see how this does actually tend to pan out, because I think Rise Nation is starting to get a little bit more comfortable and they're playing a little bit more aggressive. We already saw that from the heavy roam game coming out, and I don't like the fact that Yeti on the Jackal is solo pushing this, because he got picked because he was solo pushing. But there we go. Finally, my man's going to come through onto the other side. He does manage to pick him up, and Yeti moves in. He takes down Ghost. That is so much better coming out from OrgLess. I'm so glad to see great teamwork coming out from them. And that may have just won them the round to take out Roamers that early.
Saying that, Rise is going to get the kill of their own, with England managing to take out Acid on the Thatcher. That shotgun doing the good work yet again. My man is on pretty low health as well there. He's going to be making his way, or at least clearing some utility to start making his way over into study. Pulse is going to be playing over in the vault, just able to gather a little bit of information. England there, just going to make sure that there's no drones that are going to be causing them any nuisance later on. Grenades are going to come out, smokes are coming in. Candela, oh sorry, not Candela, Legion Mine is going to get deployed there and get into crazy. So we've still got Beastly in the vault area, and he's going to be able to call if the plant starts to go down, and that's going to allow Vandal to push onto that door pretty aggressively. We've got England being able to watch the other door, so this defense is looking pretty good for Rise. But the thing that plays into OrgLess's hands is there's quite a bit of time left on the clock, 45 seconds left, so they've got a lot of time to play with, but they're going to have to start making a push from somewhere. The plant is actually going down, so I think that must have just been out of the range of the pulse scanner, and it seemed a little bit impossible at a time, but OrgLess have managed to get the bomb down there, and now Yeti is able to get some kills down onto 90, first taking out England, then going on to take out Vandal. All now down to Beastly, as he's left in a 1 versus 4 situation. Does manage to pick up Brian, but my man there, ready to trade out the kill, gets the final one onto Beastly, and that's going to be a good round in the books for OrgLess.
Yeah, really good round coming up from OrgLess, but particularly from Yeti there, who got a 3k, 1 from his entry, and 2 again from his holding on to 90. But great push coming up from OrgLess, recognizing the fact that England's on the shotgun, on the laser sight, on smoke. He's playing that doorway. There's no way you're contesting that push. So rather than contest it, just go to the other place. I think that Rise were, as you said, relying a little bit too heavily on that pulse, because he said it was a little bit too far out of his range to see the plant was going down where it was. And so they had Elysian playing behind Vault Door. They had Pulse playing sort of that area as well to try and pulse it out. If the Pulse had been behind Vault Door, that may have gone a little bit differently. Would have been able to see where the plant was going down a little bit more effectively. Could have gone a little bit better. But
yeah, I agree. I'm not sure how. I think it was Brian on Hibana that planted. Yeah. I'm not sure how he was able to get into the site at that point without getting alerted.
They call Brian the magician. He activated smoke wall. Ran into the site.
Because you would think that would be called out on the pulse scanner and allow. I think it was Vandal playing on the Legion over in game to be able to peek the angle just before he crouches down behind the desk, if you will, to get the bomb down. So I don't know, it's difficult to say, but OrgLess certainly did a good job of getting the bomb down. They brought themselves onto a match point. We're going to be seeing this location yet again. So this is really it for Rise Nation. If they want this spot, or if they want a chance at this spot at Invitationals, they're going to have to really come out to play now. And there's no room for any sort of mistake. But on the other hand, this is it now for OrgLess. If they take this round, they're going to go on to face Space Station Gaming.
Yeah, they are indeed. OrgLess just 1 round away from locking this out. But don't forget, there's still a lot of potential for Rise to bring this back, because OrgLess have now taken 2 rounds on the attack, which is what Rise had done. And they took 4 rounds on defense. I think there's a lot of potential here for Rise to bring that in. But they got to start playing a little bit smarter with their utility, and they've got to recognize where the weaknesses are in their defenses and respond appropriately when OrgLess start to push into them, because that's what's been happening pretty much across this entire series, where OrgLess have been really good at droning out the site and droning out what the setup is like, and they're just pushing where the utility's not.
Yeah, and I think OrgLess has done a great job of getting some good entry kills as well. They picked up 2 last round, which was certainly very influential in how that round ended up playing out for them. And it seems this time that Rise are playing a little bit more reserved. They're not in the area, they're not in the same areas around that statue area as to where they got killed last time. But Yeti's still able to get a good track of where Jaeger is, and that's going to lock Jaeger out just for a little bit of time until that track wears off. But it's going to certainly alert his position, and OrgLess maybe going to rotate off that and try and single the Jaeger out as he is downstairs on his own. But it just seems as though we got some of the study open, and my man maybe just going down to. I thought he was going to go down there just to try and watch out for the Jaeger that maybe looking to rotate up these stairs, but not quite yet. Jaeger downstairs in art studio, so more nearer to study stairs, but down there playing with Ghost as well. So a lot of potential for a refrag down here, but. I think with the progress that OrgLess are making onto the site, it could be time for them to look to start moving back up.
Yeah, and you can definitely point out Nitros are going to go out, but that's not going to pick anything, but Ghost himself will pick up 1, and my man instantly will trade him out. Hyper recognizes that he's losing that situation, and will go up a different staircase instead. My man's still very concerned about the pushes coming through, will start to throw out flashbangs, and just kind of zoom in his way there to see what is going on. But yeah, as you said, they're still on the roam. They need to start making a move up, but they're being completely locked out, it looks like, and OrgLess is doing a much better job at shutting down those rotates.
That being said, moving into the final 35 seconds, OrgLess are going to have to do something with the control that they've got. It looks as though Brian has managed to sneak his way in yet again, as Acid is going to pick up a kill with a Claymore, and I think Brian actually got smoked out there, and the diffuser is down. The diffuser is going to get smoked as well, and the smoke is going to finish off Brian, so the diffuser is on the floor in sight. Beastly's going to pick up a kill onto Acid. All of a sudden, this is looking pretty good for Rise Nation in the final few seconds. My man just taking a Legion Mine out before he managing to get the bomb down, but smoke's going to come out again. So much denial coming out from Rise Nation, and I think that is going to be OrgLess out of time unless the diffuser is going down right now. But no, Vandal is going to get the kill onto my man as he tries, and that's going to be a great round for Rise Nation, deploying all the utility at the right point, managing to deny that plant for 30 seconds or more.
And Rise played that so much better this time. They played the Pulse in the position that they should have played him last time, where he can now pulse out that entire area. He can see when he goes down. I was going to say I didn't quite like the positioning from England last time, but I actually realized now, moving in there, that England playing there with info, he can just crouch behind there, near the doorway, going in through onto gaming room, and then you can just turn around and smoke exactly where the plant is going to start to go down, when no matter where it goes down in that room, he can inevitably smoke it off. And yeah, I think a lot of that just came down to the fact that England is playing a really powerful position. So yeah, I definitely did like that coming out from him. It's going to be OrgLess still on match point, of course, but 1 round away from Rise Nation to taking us to our very first overtime of the night.
Definitely some potential for that. We're moving downstairs, and this is a location that OrgLess have won on the attack before. They won this back in round 8. So, and that's the only time it's been played. So a little bit of precedent there. I'd be interested. I think this was the round where we saw Rise playing heavily upstairs, and they were I think OrgLess were able to deal with 3 of Rise very quickly upstairs, take that control, and then just move on and get the last 2 that were on the site. So I think it's all going to be about how this is played out. If Rise played this the same way as last time, and OrgLess were able to attack it in the same way and kind of tear it apart, then they're going to have to do something different basically this time, I think, to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Hopefully, they will start to aim it up a bit. And then we always talk about adaptation. It's all about how quickly you can adapt around, how quickly you just kind of go what's happening exactly in these rounds, and appropriately, adapt. And I'll be honest, I haven't seen too much adaptation coming out from either of these teams, but we do see little parts of evidence. Not in terms of operator lineup, but in terms of play style. But most of the time, Rise are kind of running the same lineup and the same setups.
Yeah, you can see that they've still got 3 guys playing upstairs. We've got the same wall bandited. We've probably got the same mute jammer going down. I think we've seen possibly an impact trick there just to get one of the charges off after a Thatcher maybe has gone in. But a mute still causing a little bit of a nuisance there, and the Hibana pellet's not quite being able to be detonated as the Thatcher comes down again. But unfortunately there, Ghost is going to pick up his jammer trying to save it, and that is going to allow the Hibana to open up the hole. So puts Ghost in a very difficult position, but he's got a great weapon to be there. He's got the shotgun. That shotgun's going to do some great work at close range in that vault. Brian there just looks as though he's waiting for something to happen as another bandit battery is going to get placed. And this seems to be going a little bit differently. I think this is probably more of the way that Rise have envisioned this working, and that's why they're willing to try it again, because they do know that it works. And they're willing to be able to, you know, put this on the line, because by this point in the round last time that this site was played, I think OrgLess has already got some kills. Ghost there going to be coming out with a kill of his own onto Crazy with the SMG-11. That's a great kill to pick up. So that's Sledge out of the picture. That's going to be some grenades and obviously a lot of soft destruction that's been removed within the first 2 minutes of the round. But it looks as though OrgLess managed to make the way in. Acid's going to pick up a kill of his own onto England. So that's going to remove the Legion. And my man is just waiting for Ghost to peek. Ghost just peeks out, and my man's ACOG there is going to do the work for him. My man looking for another one onto the guy behind Gaming and the bar in Gaming. But I don't think that he's going to be able to find it. There's no real reason for this guy to peek that's behind there. So stun grenades are going to come out, and Hyper there is going to be stunned. My man taking the Ash main route and just going in for a stun, vaulting over and managing to pick up that kill. All now going to be down to Vandal and Beastly as the shots are raining in from above. There's not a lot of time left for OrgLess. They're going to have to do something relatively quickly. Beastly's going to pick up a kill onto Brian. That's going to put the diffuser down. Toxic Bays are going to come out down to the final 25 seconds now. I think Acid is going to be the one that's going to be making this initial push and just trying to take out the smoke, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to push in far enough. The diffuser is going to get dropped again as Vandal picks up yet. Oh, that's actually a down, but Vandal's going to be prepared to repeat that. He picks up another kill onto Acid. My man is now the last one standing, and 2 more kills are going to come out for Rise Nation. Beastly and Vandal doing a great job there in a 2 versus 4 to keep Rise Nation's hopes alive.
Completely bringing that back, purely off of the back of flag potential there and just completely peeking out. OrgLess could have done a lot better there to take vertical control and really abuse the hell out of it, because it seemed like they were going upstairs just to clear out roamers, but you can get vertical control off of that. They had soft destruction available to them as well. So I really just don't understand how they allowed that to go through as quickly as it did, and in the way it did when people were just peeking out the fairly similar angle. But
I think the kill onto Crazy was quite crucial.
It was and it wasn't, because yeah, you're taking the Sledge off the board that early, but there's a Jackal.
And the Sledge just makes a very short work of that kind of stuff. And I think that with the time that it took, that maybe played into the way that they had to play it a little bit differently.
I think the key point to take away from that is that Jackal and Sledge are both good soft destruction, but without a burp, you need to get in there quickly and start working on that floor, and they just weren't able to do that. The fact that, you know, Hyper dies, but he's allowed to play behind the bar for so long before he eventually does get pushed out, I think that just survival from Rise Nation, even though it does get turned into a 4v2 eventually, survival and just wasting time is something that Rise have been pretty good at throughout the series and throughout this particular map.
So we are leading into our first overtime, and Rise Nation doing a great job there of bringing things back. I think OrgLess was sat on round 5 for quite some time. They did manage to pick one back, but Rise have done a great job to bring it to this point. They're going to be the first ones to defend again, and they've chosen to go over to Statue and Trophy. So it's all going to be on the lineup of OrgLess and how they can do anything a little bit differently. The key difference that we can see so far is that my man is going to be on Zephyr, so he's going to be putting the Ash to bed for a little bit of time and making good use of Zephyr. So a small slight change there. Why do you think they've done that?
I'm not sure, honestly. I think that mainly you're like bringing Ash or Zofia based on, you know, Maestro usage, but obviously no Maestro here. So I think the Zofia is mainly about just trying to push out defenders quickly enough, because you get the thing about Zofia, right, and her gadget. People say, oh, Ash is better now because her flashes, you get 3 of them, you only get 2 Zofia charges. But it's like one of the only attacker gadgets you get feedback from. You know if there's someone there. You don't know if there's someone there if you just throw a flash at them. You don't know if you even flash them or not. But the Grismot, like, charge comes out from Zofia, and you know if there's someone there because it gets detonated instantly. And I think that allows you to move way, way quicker. Not only that, but her impacts, I think, a little bit better than the Ash charges, just in case, because they just go off instantly. There's no delay.
Yeah, they're definitely a little bit quicker, and I think it provides better destruction on the floor as well. I'm not sure if that is the case or not, but it does seem to act like a
It's a
normal
little
impact.
bit. Yeah.
We're seeing the push coming out pretty slowly this time from OrgLess. We've got a couple of members of Rise there. They're going to be on the ground floor, maybe going, or sorry, on the basement, maybe going for this very late flank yet again. But I've no doubt that OrgLess have got a couple of drones set up just waiting. Yeti is, his spidey senses are tingling at this stage. He's definitely aware that something isn't quite right. Perhaps they've done a little bit of a drone of the site and got a man count, and they seem to be missing a couple. Toxic Bait is going to come out, but that isn't really going to be doing anything to stem the attackers' flow at this stage. Brian going to be struggling to make anything work in his master bedroom. He's going to want to try and make his way in. The smoke there comes out. Now, the last time this happened, we had the Ying, and it didn't work too well at all. But this time the smokes are good. England just desperately trying to get some shots in, but doesn't quite manage. Yeti picking up one on the flank. Hyper is going to trade out onto my man. My man's going to get a kill from the Claymore straight onto Hyper. And Yeti is going to be waiting there, playing over in Gaming, and he's going to pick up a kill onto England. Acid going to get one of his own onto Vandal. All now down to Ghost. The diffuser is down 1 versus 4. He's not got a lot of chance at that stage. Crazy's able to pick up that kill as he rotates through the crouch Hibana hole. And that's going to be a good round for OrgLess. I think Yeti's game sense there was certainly on point. He was very aware of that flank, and he dealt with it very swiftly when it did come.
That Claymore from a man as well, I'm pretty sure that's the same Claymore that Hyper got picked by the last time. So yeah, it's like that very, very tight Claymore, because I'm pretty sure most of the lasers do actually go back into the stairs itself, and it's just something you're not looking at, because when you're moving up the stairs, you're expecting gunfights at the top, so you're not even looking at the stairs themselves, and yeah, Hyper just gets picked. Really a heads-up Claymore coming out from a man, and that could also be the other reason you're bringing Zofia there.
Yeah, definitely. Zofia brings the Claymore potential, and we are going to, of course, see a switcheroo now. So the sides are going to change. So Rise are going to switch over onto the attack, and it's going to be OrgLess to take defense. They're going to choose to go to the same location, going to choose to go to Statue and Trophy, and this is, of course, overtime match point. So this is going to be one that OrgLess are going to want to do well and going to want to win. And historically, over this game, they have won Trophy a couple of times on the defense, so that's certainly going to play into their favor just a little bit when it comes to setting this. But it is a bit of a change of the tides. We've had a lot of attacking rounds in a row for OrgLess at this stage, and a lot of defensive rounds in a row for Rise, so it's going to be about how they're able to adapt onto that and what they're able to bring.
It's a bit of a reset of momentum, sure. I just want to point out as well, there was a nice bit of 6-picking going on there. That Hyper 6-pick from the Ash onto the Zofia to try and deal with the Clash, but then the Clash got 6-picked onto the Jaeger. I assume just as bait to try and bait out like a Capitao or a Zofia. So I'm not sure if that's what OrgLess actually wanted here, because I feel like you kind of want to deal, but then it gets Hyper. You kind of don't want to deal with Hyper on the Ash, because this man, he will kill you. He's still got the underage of blood in him.
Yeah, Hyper's been doing some good work on the Ash. There's been some pretty crazy kills coming out from both sides, I think. You know, Hyper's been doing some great work from Rise as well as England. Hyper more on the entry, and of course on OrgLess, Yeti and my man have been pretty much swapping to and fro as to who's getting the entry kills there. So both doing good work. This is a setup that we've seen before as well from OrgLess, with Yeti playing on those back stairs and my man on the Valkyrie just making a nuisance of himself, rotating all the way downstairs. I love the basement of Villa. I feel like it provides such great rotation for the defenders, and it's an area that the attackers very, very rarely go, and it's just it's a kind of give for the defenders to be able to rotate around the side, around the map.
So the thing that Renshiro did here as well, just going back to that Extreme Video esport game, he was playing Rook, and he's playing the very bottom of the stairs, and these east stairs, you can actually get an angle from the east stairs all the way onto the north stairs from the bottom of them, and Renshiro's holding that with a Rook, and think of the amount of pushes that completely destroys, and now you have to do your own glide. Now you have to go downstairs, you have to deal with this Rook, and he's just going to be all the way downstairs. And yeah, it does give out the viability of just roaming downstairs and just wasting time and just testing angles, because there's so much viability for Villa.
Yeah, Villa as we've said, I mean, we've seen it tonight. All these bomb sites have been viable in one way or the other. I don't think there's been one that's always gone one way or the other. England, they're going to be opening up a couple of prone holes with Hibana and getting into his drone. The push is certainly going to start coming through now from Rise Nation, which is good because it's a little bit earlier than we do usually see it. Hyper there, just trying to find out if anybody is playing in the site, putting a couple of lifelines down, but they did not detonate straight away, so that's going to feed back to him just a little bit. Vandal on the Ying, no doubt getting ready with a Candela in his hand to make the push happen here, as we can hear the smoke grenades are going to start coming out, and I think it's going to be England that's going to be peeking that doorway, just putting some shots down. He's definitely aware that we've got somebody playing over the other side. Hyper going to be getting aggressive into the site. He's now all the way into A. The Yings have gone deep this time. Hyper's going to pick up a kill onto Acid, almost going to pick up another one onto Yeti. Yeti surely can't repeat the angle. Crazy going to come out with a C4 kill onto the Zephyr. Brian going to come out with a kill onto Beastly. The diffuser has gone down. 3 versus 4 in favour of OrgLess. My man going to pick up a kill onto England. Ghost going to get a kill onto Brian. And all of a sudden, it's looking pretty good for Rise Nation. They've just got to try and hold on to this post plan as hard as they can. Vandal's going to make good use of a Candela there and picking up a kill onto Crazy, making it a 2 versus 2. Yeti is certainly one bullet at this stage, so he won't want to be challenging anything too hard. Ghost picking up the kill onto my man. Yeti all the way inside. The diffuser has still got a little bit of time left, but he's got a lot of work to do. He can't find this kill, and he's going to be searching for it. Is he going to be able to pick up this kill? He's aiming too high. Ghost on the crouch is going to get the kill onto Yeti, and that's going to be a round on the board for Rise Nation.
Yeah, definitely very well done coming out from Rise Nation, especially to get that plant down while still having a Candela. Really smart from Vandal to where he used that Candela as well, because the only flank potential that OrgLess actually has at that point for a retake is to push through the site and through the bathroom at the same time. So that pinch potential, that was a round that Rise insanely needed. That has saved them from getting knocked out here, and this may have saved them completely because, as you said, this is a little bit defender-sided, and both rounds from overtime have now been attacker wins.
Yeah, it seems to have changed up ever so slightly in the final stages, but we're of course moving into overtime match point now, so this really is for all the marbles. Whoever wins this round is going to be the victor out of Villa. Whether that is OrgLess, they're then going to take the series 2-0, or if it's Rise Nation, we will then see Oregon as our deciding map. It's fallen on the side of Rise Nation for defense. They've opted to go over to Aviator. This is somewhere that they've done pretty well. It all comes down to this. It just goes to show how well matched these teams are, I think, and especially how well matched this map is in terms of like the ability to pick up rounds. It seems like the rounds that you pick up are the rounds that the other side picks up as well, and it's really on who can adapt better on their attack to make something happen differently. Yeah,
we mentioned that point constantly. The ability to adapt on the fly is crucial for successful attacks and defenses. And I think that at this point, at max OT, after having played 14 rounds out, these teams should be pretty aware of how each other play, considering as well on the fact that Rise Nation almost run the exact same lineup and almost the exact same strategy every single time. So OrgLess should have a good idea of what to expect here, and I like the fact they're bringing a Sledge. But we did see from last time, Crazy got picked very early on, and that was a pretty big factor in the fact that they lost this. But I think that OrgLess at this point, they just need to kill England, because he's being able to bring in so many rounds on this particular defense, on the gaming room and aviator room defense, and it's just completely sent OrgLess in circles when they've been trying to go for the plant. They can't contest him on the short angle, they can't contest him on the long angles by trying to plant and bait him out, because he's just going to smoke you. Either there needs to be more time on the board when OrgLess is actually going to go for that push, or they just need to kill him.
A bomb has been located.
There's certainly something that needs to be done to be dealt with him, because, like you say, it's just too powerful. And we've got Beastly there playing the pulse yet again in the vault. Going to be able to provide that information. Brian opening up the prone holes yet again with the Hibana. We've seen this won successfully twice on defense from Rise Nation. We've seen it won successfully once on attack from OrgLess. So the stats at this stage sort of swing in Rise's favor just a little bit. And moving into sort of the halfway point of the round, it seems like it's been quite a slow round. There's not all too much that's been going on in terms of killing potential, but good map control has been taken by OrgLess, and Beastly is still going to be on his pulse, just trying to gain any information as to where the push is going to be coming from. There's drones flooding into the site, and they're going to be feeding back information as well. Brian maybe looking to set up a bit of a flank watch drone there, just so that they're not going to get caught out, as it does seem as though Yeti is going to be holding the other side as well. And, I think it might be Hyper that's looking over in Master Bedroom side. It is, and Statue, and he's going to come to blows with my man, but my man is going to win that battle. That could be crucial.
There was no info there. I don't know why Hyper's being that aggressive when he clearly just didn't know where he was. And yeah, my man just shuts him down instantly. Nades are going to come out, but again, as I said, they really need to deal with the smoke here, or need to start planting right now and start going for the push. One smoke is going to come out from England. He's going to be able to try and do that to deny the plant going through. Brian desperately trying to find his entry here, but they still can't get that angle into the smoke. So fear charges are going to come out as well from my man. They're trying to zone out the defenders here, but you can still see OrgLess are running out a lot of time. Another smoke is going to go down. Beastly still pushing out everyone, and England just peeks it out. He takes down Yeti, but the plant is going down while else it's going through. As he does take down Vandal, we've still got England on the board, but the diffuser does go down regardless of that. Ghost takes down Brian, but now it's a 3v2. Now it's all looking very good for OrgLess. All they have to do is defend the plant, but we've seen great retakes before from Rise Nation. Let's see if they can do it again. My man holding down the very nice angle here to try and shut down anyone who moves through. He's still got loads of utility. Beastly does know there's someone over there. What a peek from Ghost. Takes down my man with a headshot. It's all down to Crazy in a 1v3. Takes down England, and he's got 2 more to take down. No frag grenades coming out from him, and you see the diffuser is starting to get destroyed here, but no, Crazy's going to move up. He's got to get the kill, and he gets the double kill. Oh my god, Crazy just goes huge, and he gets a 3k to end out the series. And there we go, OrgLess take the victory 2-0 in max overtime on Villa. What a series.
What a way to do it in style. Crazy there, going absolutely crazy toward the end, and just holding the post plan absolutely perfectly, peeking out at the right time, and getting the job done. Certainly well deserved from OrgLess. I feel like they came into their own later on into that game, and they really dug deep to pick up those rounds, because it was evident that there were times in that game where they were struggling. I mean, you can just see by the spread of kills there on OrgLess, they've got 4 guys on over 10 kills, and the 5th on 9. So, you know, hell of a game.